Boom! You all thought I was coming out of there, dude. You all thought I was coming out of there. Not today, man. Not today, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, baby. How are we doing, dude? Before we get it going, gotta give it a little dance, dude. Oh! It's so ridiculous, dude. It's so ridiculous. All right, we'll keep it going. Like this. It's so fucking stupid, dude. How's everyone doing today, ladies and gentlemen? What's going on, dude? You know, before I start the stream, I always gotta try to, like, get myself hyped up to dance, you know? Because, like, what in the hell am I doing? Like, I'm about to come out here and dance in front of a couple hundred people and look like an absolute idiot. For your entertainment, dude. It is what it is. Actually, I think we're gonna rock the hat today. How's everyone doing, ladies and gentlemen? What is going on? Monk the Bar, what's going on, dude? Yo, the poet is in the house. How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Yo, big day today, man. Big day today. It's, we're gonna go out here with a positive attitude, guys. I think it's very important we try to go in positively. Because if you go in positively, maybe your mindset, maybe your attitude could change. But I don't know if there's any promises, man. No promises. I don't know what's going to happen today. I just hope we get some good class changes. I hope we get some things fixed up, man. So maybe this game doesn't crumble beneath his feet. It is what it is. Mandalar, Just a Dude, Fen Dweller, Naomi, Rick, Monk the Bard, Kyle Green, Barbecue, JMO, Frank Lipper, Josh Weldon, Fiction, Phoenix, Isaac, Pinky Destroyer, Billy Shaw. Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Dude, big day today, man. Big day today. We're gonna see if we can't make anything happen. Let me go here. One second. Can you guys hear that? I think you can. I think you guys can. I wanted to actually pull up really quickly. Where's my mouse cursor? Hello? There it is. I actually just wanted to go through some stuff on Wowhead for a little bit before we actually get into it. Anthony, what's going on, baby? How we doing? You already know every single time there's news, everyone floods in here. So it's really, really cool. Solid game means, yeah, I agree, buddy. Just needs some work, man. I wanted to go through some things really, really quick. There's some new Barbarian armor, apparently, coming out. I mean, once again, all this shit looks exactly the same. What are you gonna do? New Barbarian armor. That's kind of cool, I guess. Anything else? Aspect of the Dark Dance. Self-inflicted vulnerable. Oh my god. Wait. Wait, dude. The aspect of Dark Dance applies vulnerability to yourself? If you have the exploit glyph. What? Yo, this game is so poorly developed, bro. Yo, let me get some ones in the chat if you guys think Diablo 4 is super poorly developed. Let me get some ones in the chat, dude. Yo, what? Yo, if you have the exploit glyph active and you use Aspect of the Dark Dance to actually damage yourself, it applies vulnerability to yourself. Yo, they can't do anything right, dude. No shots. There's no way. Oh my god, dude. I'm getting trolled. Unbelievable. Do you guys have a Discord or Diablo 4 clan? Love the content. Excited for today. Yeah, we do, man. Let me open up my Streamlabs chat bot, actually. And then we'll, I'll give you the Discord right now, buddy. Boom, invite people. There it is. And we also have a clan in game. I don't know if I'm going to be logging it today. I got to make a build video on Fiction's Necromancer because that shit is broken and I got to get it out right away. There's the Discord right there, buddy. It's not easy to make interacting design compared to simple number and stat buff. It's not easy, you're right, but it should sure as well not be so difficult. Shit. It ain't easy, but it shouldn't be difficult. We're talking about hundreds of $1 million for development. I don't think there's an excuse, man. This guy getting trolled again since New World, bro. Ramiro, what's going on, baby? How we doing? What's fixed Necro? Oh, dude, you're tripping. We're making a build on it today, right after the stream. I'm deep diving into some stuff and making the video. What's the clan name? I think it's just CBK, the Comeback Kids. Stop making excuses, guys. I agree, dude. You can't be making excuses all the time for the game. You gotta be real about what's problem, dude. Hold on 1 second. I think I gotta let these dogs out 1 second. Okay. Yo, is Fireside at 11 PST? Yeah, it should be in about 20 minutes. It should pop up. Let me actually get it open just in case. Bum, 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 bum. There it is. Starts in 20 minutes, dude. I just wanted to go through Wowhead for a little bit, though. TT reveal? Wait, what? What are you talking about? Money don't magically solve issues. This coming as a dev myself. Yeah, but what if it's a AAA company from one of the most renowned gaming companies in the world? You don't think that could solve the issue of hiring or having the potential and finances to hire the best developers possible? Literally, the game is a developing nightmare from start to finish. Let's be real. Listen, I love Diablo. This game has brought me nothing but great things. It grew the channel to 40K subs. It gives me hundreds of thousands of views a month. I love this game. It would be a terrible thing for this game to die and I move on to different games. But, like, I'm just being real. It's a developing nightmare. I don't know. And I think right now, today, we at least need some sort of positive news instead of... I just need them to not say this. Well, in a future live stream, we're going to be talking about this. In a future this, we're going to be talking about that. And the next time, we're going to be talking about that. We need stuff right now. Because this game is going underwater with how many bad... Like, content creators are bashing this game so bad right now. We need something good. That's all I'm saying. I am not bashing the game. I love the game. I do enjoy the game. For what it is, it's a good game. What it does well, but it is a developing nightmare. Need Incinerate and Meteor WeWork. Yo, if they fix Incinerate, I will make a Sorcerer right after I make my video today. Right after I make my video today, I will make a Sorcerer and I will stream all day tomorrow playing a Sorcerer. If they fix Incinerate. Or at least buff it. I swear to God, I'll fix it. Or play it. Blizzard's known for one of the worst pays compared to the other companies like Riot Games. Oh, Riot's the most amazing company ever. They just kick ass at everything they do. Everything they do, they're just amazing. Salvage Nightmare Dungeon Sigils at the... What? Okay. It's all trash. Remember, guys, they're also going to be talking... It is... Introduce clashed balance changes, quality of life updates. You guys can't see this. And coming in 1.1.1, which should come as early as next week. That's what they said. So many AAA games are released unplayable. How many do you remember? And they got destroyed. What about Cyberpunk? You know how bashed that game was for years and years? And then they did massive updates and it finally grew population over time? That doesn't mean it's a good thing. Just because it happens doesn't mean it should be normalized or accepted. You shouldn't, like, come on, dude. Come on. Let's be real here. Like, it's a $70 game, and they're selling another $80, $90, $100 version. Then they're shoving battle passes down your throat, and then skins, and this, and updates, and it's like seasonal styles of play, live service. They're going to be getting money constantly, and then they're releasing a half-baked game with a shit season. I'm just being honest. Like, I love the game. The game's great. But nothing should ever be released unplayable or broken. Well, I don't know what we're talking about here today. I don't understand. In 2004, Blizzard Entertainment made Molten Core one of their coolest raids of all time, even though it's kind of whatever. They made it in like a week and a half. That wasn't broken on release. It worked. It was like, come on, dude. I excited for the new LoL 2v2 mode. Yo, Frank. Dude, I play that all the time with Lance. I literally play it like every other night, at least a couple matches, just to like de-stress, because you just go in there, log in, play some twos, log out, and that's it. Nothing stressful. Blizzard min-maxing their community. Oh no, dude. We have completely different expectations for games now, though. I agree. But like, why is it that like certain games are timeless? Like, League of Legends is timeless. Classic WoW is timeless. What are some other timeless games? Lance or Anthony or someone, if you guys are in here, what are some timeless games that people just keep playing? Like, you just need core systems that work and work well, that aren't fucking broken. You don't need anything super complicated. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just, come on, man. Like, just simple systems that are good and effective, that respect you, your time, and that work properly. Skyrim, that's a great one. Timeless game. I believe it or not, Rocket League. People will play that shit nonstop. Come on, man. Battlefield 5 broken. 2042 broken COD for last... Bro, I mean, those are disasters, though. And that shouldn't happen. And those games are now known as just broken games. Like, whenever I think of that Battlefield that came out, I just think, oh my god, they launched it, it's broken, it's probably still broken. I don't think, wow, this game's gonna make a comeback with the newest update. RuneScape, oh, that's a great one. RuneScape. Even though I never played it, but people fucking love RuneScape. Call of Duty. Nostalgia's a hell of a drug. I mean, nostalgia is what's bringing a lot of people to play Diablo 4. And the thing is, now people are developing games keeping that in mind more than anything. Like, how could we feed off of nostalgia and what they once had, rather than trying to make something new and that's cleanly and just really professionally developed and well done. I don't know. GTA, that's another one. Holy shit. People still play GTA 5. It's at the top of Twitch to this day. It's crazy. Actually, let's go see Twitch. Let's look up Twitch. What are the best games? How do you even fucking work this website? Okay, so everyone's watching Diablo because of the stream, obviously. World of Warcraft, obviously. League of Legends. Shit, I guess Hunt the Showdown still gets views. CSGO, Grand Theft Auto. Like, that's crazy. Those are recommended? Oh, are they really? Oh shit, I'm trolling. My bad. How do I go to top games then? How do I go most viewers? Can anyone teach me? Because I'm never on Twitch, ever. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Sort options. Click above to reorder. Viewers high to low? Red Dead Redemption, that's a great one. The point is like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, man. You really don't. You just need to make something that's efficient, effective, and that people can enjoy and it respects their time. That doesn't involve so many systems that are just bullshit. Like, we don't need any more bullshit systems. Like, you know what I mean? Remnant 2? Yeah, Remnant 2's fire. Now they have the remastered Red Dead coming too. Exactly. People love that. Those companies love doing that, feeding off of like what worked well in the past. I mean, think about like the movies that come out nowadays. Like, the only thing they make nowadays is just remakes of what they made before, or just feeding off of like nostalgia of what was in like the early 2000s, 90s, 80s. Like, they do that all the time. It's never anything brand new. It's never anything, you know, exciting, or there's some sort of like, I don't even want to get into that, but whatever. They turned off the live chat of the Diablo 4 live stream because of negativity. I don't think you can turn it off on Twitch though, but yeah, they definitely do it every single time for YouTube. YouTube, they do it every single time. We have how many minutes? We have 10 minutes, dude. Let me get some ones in the chat. If you guys are at least excited to see what we got going on here, man. Let me get some ones. I'll tell you what. Got ones in the chat for me, dude. I'm at least excited. I want to see what we got here, man. They can limit chat on Twitch. I didn't know that either. That's crazy. They don't want the truth. I love that. Listen, I'm excited, man. I'm at least excited. Yo, how about this? Yo, this is the best thing. Where's my developer? Was it Keith? I think it was Keith, right? What about this, buddy? This might offend you. I think it was Keith Jones. He was saying he's developer, I'm pretty sure. Here it is. What about this? Urn of Bargaining. So when you get your seasonal ashes, right? you invest it into in a variety of different things to progress faster in whatever it may be, whether experience, gold earned, chance at salvage materials being more rare, boost to duration, whatever. So what's happening is that people are taking their ashes and increasing the amount of gold they earn, but it's also increasing the amount of gold they have to spend. So check this out. This is crazy. Why is the quality so low? Hello?
Points. Look, 7.4 million gold. This is for rerolling my amulet.
7.5 million.
If you put points into the
okay, so he's taking his ashes and he's investing them in the amount of gold he gets increased. So then he invests them.
Gold from the back.
And it went from 7.4 million
it actually
to 8 million. I can't do this anymore. This game's giving me anxiety. We just gotta clean this shit up. We gotta clean this shit up, dude. This is getting absolutely insane. Nuts, dude. Nuts. So you think you're actually gonna be getting more money? He spent 2 points, which is a 10% increase. And then he's actually gonna have to spend, like, what was it? What's roughly about a 10% increase? That's, I don't know. There's no excuse. Let's be real, there's no excuse for something like that. It's the damn taxes. Don't worry, it'll be fixed in Season 4. Oh, no. Dude, I can't stand that response. That's nuts, man. Learn from Season 1 to make Season 2 elite. I don't know, I guess. But, dude, I just don't like also that they kind of named this season a kind of, like, wash from... They were making statements like, well, guys, just remember... We developed Season 1 while we were developing the game. I really didn't like that they said that. That's pretty much saying, like, hey, don't have too much high expectations because we were doing multiple things at once. I don't like that at all. Developers are becoming so submissive to those crybabies who always complain about nerfs. All they do is to balance the game. That's bad, I think. They must be the law. I agree, but, like, I don't know why they're making things more difficult. Like, there's a weird conspiracy going on, which is... listen, I don't know how true this thing actually is, but there's a conspiracy going on that the developers are making the Eternal Realm shit and a lot harder and a lot more difficult to play and encounter with to force you on the Seasonal Realm to play on the Seasonal Realm by, you know, showing you features that help you, like the Malignant Hearts and maybe some new items or upgrades or aspects, to force you on the Seasonal Realm to try to buy their battle passes and shit like that. So they're like funneling you, they're forcing you to be funneled into a seasonal style of play to get these battle passes and cosmetics and microtransactions shoved down your throat. The thing is, this is not so far-fetched, I'm not gonna lie. If we're coming about, I don't know. I don't think it's that far-fetched. Would I be surprised if I saw it? Hell no. We're talking about Blizzard Entertainment. That's all I'm saying. That's all I think, man. I believe it, though. Dude, I swear it could be true. All right, we got 5-ish minutes. 5.5. How are they trying to appease the people complaining about nerfs when they're putting in more nerfs? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Break out the tinfoil hat. Too realistic to be a conspiracy. Well, the power we got from hearts are not in the Eternal Realm. That's what I'm saying. That's the point. Or the new legendary aspects. Like, or the new brand new features everyone wants to try out. Like, why not put that on the Eternal Realm? Why can't I do that? How about this? Yo, can I get some ones in the chat? If the seasonal journey rewards were boring as shit, let me get some ones in the chat. If you thought the seasonal journey reward, as you're going through the seasonal progression, you level it up and then you redeem your reward, you get a little chest, and the chest gives you, like, nothing. I got 3 sacred items inside of the chest that weren't even legendaries. Oh my god, I'm like... Bro, I'm on the last tier. The hearts are boring. Most of the hearts are boring. Only a couple of them are broken. Can't wait for Diablo 4 Resurrected. Oh, no. Diablo 4 Classic. I got grays. Oh, shit. I'd be mad. I have a clip, actually. Let me see if I can pull it up. I was so pissed. Right there, dude. Hold on. I don't think that was a... Hold on. Give me a sec. Oh, here it is. Check this out. You have to get all 8 of these? So check this out. Hold on. Hold on a second. Let me go to my basic recording here. Check this out, guys. Here it is. This is the second to last seasonal cache, okay? The 7th journey. I've done 7, okay? I finally earned it. I opened it. Look what I get. Are you fucking kidding me? I get 3 sacreds and some 2 crafting materials. I'm so offended on so many levels. But we're talking about the second to last of the final reward I can get for 3 months. 2 Fiend Roses. Hell yeah. Huge. Yo, let me get some huges in the chat if you guys think that's huge, dude. Let me get some huges in the chat if that's a huge reward right there.
You need to repair your equipment.
I'm so mad. Watch, wait, look at my face. Check this out. I'll show you my face right now. I'm so pissed off. Watch my face. Nice, a bunch of sacred gear. What the fuck, dude? That's so troll. Sacred gear on the second to last. This is the only rewards we get for free for 3 months. I'm just like, I thought I was gonna get something. And by the way, now the last reward is kill the Echo of Lilith. Reach level 100. Are you fucking crazy? It went from complete a nightmare dungeon to kill the Echo of Lilith. What? And what is it gonna give me? Is it gonna give me something good? Oh my god, dude. I don't know. We're gonna find out. I don't know, dude. It's a sketchy one, dude. That's a sketchy one. That's all I'm saying. That's so scuffed. Hit level 100. Kill the Echo of Lilith. Dude, there's no way. There's no way. I finished without Lilith or 100. I thought, no, are you sure? Because there's 8 rewards and there's only 8, I thought there was only 8 things you could complete. You sure? Because I counted. 3 Fiend Roses. Hell yeah. Yo, that's what you're going to get in your final reward cache. The tier level 8, dude. 3 Fiend Roses. What a sack of garbage, man. Crazy. Do 6 of 8. Yeah, but I thought it said 8 of 8. You have to complete 8 of 8. Are you sure? I thought I just read that.
8, so you have to...
Hold on. Where is it? 2 of 8 completed? Is it 6? Set gear could solve balance issues. It could help. But I don't think set gear is like the answer to all of it, you know what I mean? And 2 Forgotten Souls. If it was only 1 Fiend Rose, I'd be pissed. But 2 to 3 is fucking huge. Should add slam your face into the monitor. Look at the bottom. I'll have to check this out in game. I'm gonna have to check this out in game. I'll check it out after the stream. Bottom left. What? I don't understand. What? You look so cute before you opened it. Yo, 0, dude. I was, buddy, I wasn't really doing too well. Look at me. I was so excited. Look at that. Oh, look at that smile. And it turned to this. What the fuck? It's so ridiculous. It's so stupid. Oh, man. What a joke. What a scam, dude. I got scammed. I got skamazed. Yo, let me get some yikes in the chat. Yo, you guys think we're gonna see Rod Ferguson? By the way, I got the new emoji of Rod Ferguson right there. Check it out, guys. Go smash that emoji if you're a member. We got the Rod Ferguson emoji. Let me get that Rod Ferguson emoji out there, guys. Oh my god, dude. Absolutely insane, dude. Here it is. We're gonna get our trailer again of the... Oh god, alright. Let me turn off the audio. Oh, that's so good. Rod Ferguson emoji. Yo, if we get Rod Ferguson in the chat, yo, you guys have to smash that emoji.
Sanctuary. A new festering curse
That's so good.
Its corruption across the land.
Oh, that's great, man.
More dangerous, more malignant.
We also got this one. That's a new emoji. And then we also got this.
Found a way to stop this plague.
I love them, dude.
Dark power of
I
these
love those
monsters from
emojis.
our
I'm
very
muting this shit. That shit is annoying. Oh my god, that is so funny, bro. That is so good. That kills me. That is so good. All right, guys. Yo, let me get some ones in the chat if you guys are thinking we're going to get some good news. Let me get some twos if you guys think we're going to get absolute nonsense for the 10th time. Let's hear it, dude. Let's get some ones for good news, two for bad. Season of the Malignant. Season of the unrespect of your time.
Welcome to another Diablo 4.
Oh, no Rod Ferguson, dude. He's
my name is
gone.
Adam Fletcher. I am the Associate Director of Community here on Diablo.
Oh, the class
Joined
designer
here by
is here?
Joe Shelley, Game Director for Diablo 4.
Yeah.
Mr. Joe
That's what I
Bipor,
think of
which
the
you guys
class
know
designer.
of and Joe as well, I guess.
Fucking Joker.
Familiar faces. Associate Director for Diablo 4. And, of course, Adam Jackson.
How's the audio,
Brand
guys?
new
Let me
face
know.
here. He is our lead class designer for Diablo 4. We have a lot to talk about today.
Yes.
In fact, just note, there's two Adams, two Joes, so this is going to get really confusing here.
Two Adams, two Joes.
And we were thinking about
Audio's good? Okay, thank you,
maybe
guys.
we do like a battle royale or something like that to, determine who talks next or whatever. But I will say we actually do have a lot to talk about. In
That's
fact,
funny,
I
Naomi.
would almost say
Holy shit.
this is like dev update stream worthy.
At least Campfire Plus.
Campfire Plus,
Yeah,
easily. Plus. It's like New Game Plus or whatever.
Okay.
But we do have a lot to talk about, specifically around
All
patch
right.
1.1.
Let's see, man. Give me
Did I say enough
something.
ones?
Yeah, you did.
111? 111. Patch 111.
Yo, they look kind of scared. I'm not going to
We
lie.
are going to talk about some balance changes that are going to be coming to that patch. And of course, we're also going to be talking about the dates of when that patch is actually going to be hitting, along with when players will be seeing the patch notes, which will be
What's up, Coral?
well before the actual patch does actually hit. But we'll talk about that here in a second.
Let's see, buddy.
I know we do want to jump right into it because we do have a ton to talk about. So I will actually throw it over here to Adam Jackson because I know he wants to talk
Adam
a little
Fletcher.
bit about kind of like the
I didn't know
class balance
CM
and
Punk
what
was a
we're
dev.
thinking about for 111.
Yeah, totally. Glad to be here. We have a lot to talk about. So, first I want to kind of frame this in our goals and what we're going to be doing in this patch in the immediate future, and then talking a little bit about kind of how the class team feels about classes and kind of what we're thinking in a more mid to long-term space. So, for this patch, we've got a lot going on. One of our goals is kind of, I think, obvious to the community. We want to kind of improve the effectiveness and the fun of the Sorcerer and the Barbarian. So we've got a lot of changes coming in there, and I think I want to frame this in two ways of kind of what we're thinking about the Sorcerer and then what we're thinking about with the Barbarian. Because they both have, kind of different things going on. For the Sorcerer in this patch, we're focusing on reducing something that we call Kiss Curse mechanics, which is kind of, I know, a very designery term. But it's this idea that we give you a really cool power effect, and then we kind of take something away or make it nerfed or nerf some other part of you in some way, usually for balance reasons, to make sure that it's not just out of control and power.
Yeah, usually the idea there is like, to your point, it's like, so we really have like 20% we can afford to give you, but if we take 10% of something else away, we can give you 30% or 35% and feel a little bit better about that.
Exactly. Usually it's to sell a fantasy in a really strong way, but we can't do that justifiably without just breaking the mechanic.
Wait.
But we found out in a lot of ways we've been a little too harsh with that, and so we're going to try and reduce or remove that in some cases. And then the other one is late game survivability. We know that the sorcerers typically have a tough time, when they start pushing those later Nightmare Dungeon tiers. And so we're going to be looking at ways to increase that specifically. And an example of that Kiss Curse mechanic is the Serpentine aspect. If you know that one, it's the one where you can spawn an additional Hydra, but it reduces the duration of your Hydras. That's just no longer going to reduce the duration. It's actually going to increase it. So that's an example.
Oh, that's
of
cool.
something we'll
Holy
go into
shit.
more detail later.
That's actually good.
For the Barbarian,
Okay.
we're focusing on improving the early game and making it feel better and just more fluid. We're going to be improving the Fury generation.
But that
you
better
get
not
from
be
your basic
everything. We
skills.
need 10 times
And then we're
more
also
than
looking
that.
at the late game for the Barbarian by making a lot of their uniques more attractive and effective. So you're going to see later when we go through the notes that we're going to be changing around usually about one affix per unique.
Everyone's
from
uniques
something
suck.
that really isn't that attractive for players to something that they really, really want, which we think will help make those items really exciting.
Now, when we make changes to items, specifically items like uniques, many of these changes only take effect on new items, right? Like I think we have an example of the Hellhammer here.
Yeah, kind of. It's a little bit more complex than that. So we're going to delve into one of our examples of what we're
the
updating
fuck?
here. But when we update a unique item, we actually update Hellhammer in 2 different ways. So we're increasing the duration that the ground is going to be ignited and burning, and then we're also increasing the damage. And that's the actual unique effect power, you know, the exciting thing that the item does. But you can see here on Hellhammer, we're also doing another change where we're actually
2%
granting
damage.
you bonus critical strike damage and removing the bonus damage to crowd control enemies, right? So on the left, what you see here, when you log into the game, you know, after this patch, the left version is what you're going to get. So you're not going to get the critical strike damage change where the actual item affix there, the rule changed, but you are going to get the updates to the upheaval, lasting longer and doing more damage. On the right, when you find your new items after the patch, you're going to get the new affixes, the new rules and things on the item.
Wait, so let me get this clear. Hold on. Wait, unless I'm an idiot, I could be wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. If you already have the item, it's not going to update? Is that what they just said? Or am I an idiot? No way, right? There's no way. Hold on.
The rule changed, but you are going to get the updates to the actual item affix there, the rule changed, but you are going to get the updates to the upheaval, lasting longer and doing more damage. On the right, when you find your new items after the patch, you're going to get the new affixes, the new rules and things on the item.
So you need to get it to drop again?
New versions of these items will have all of the buffs we're talking about.
New versions will have everything new, and the old versions will get the new stuff on the actual legendary effects, but then you won't have the new item stats on it.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so going back to kind of other things that we're looking at. So that's the Sorcerer and the Barbarian what we're focusing on. Then generally across all classes, we're doing a few other things as well.
Wait, that was it?
We're looking at builds that aren't really hitting a high enough power level, and we're going to be just buffing them and increasing the power of them, so they should feel better and be more competitive. We're also going to be looking at increasing the attractiveness of kind of uniques across the board. We're focusing on Sorcerer and Barbarian.
There's no way that's the buffs. No way.
But we actually believe that we
has
can
to be
do
a lot
this
more.
kind of thing across the board. There's a lot of uniques that we
just
think are really
wait.
hitting
Hold
the mark.
on. There's no
something
way.
that's kind of a tough thing that we talk about a lot on the team, because you know the roles and the things that the uniques have as far as their item power are all fixed, right? They can't re-roll different stats all over the place. So we could very easily just make all uniques really good by putting all the best stats on the items, right? That's an easy thing to do for us.
Why not
we
do
kind
it?
of have a push and pull there where we don't want to just make all of them clearly the best items in the game because they have all the best stats and they have really good powers.
Why not?
We want there to be something that's really unique and attractive about them.
I want them
You have
to be
kind of
amazing.
Think of how you're going to fit these into your character's build. But we think that we are just not hitting the mark on a lot of them, so we're boosting them a little bit and then just kind of seeing how that goes.
Okay.
Next, we're going to be looking at opening up build-specific designs to be more widely useful. So there's a lot of effects on legendary powers and in other places where this effect only works in a very narrow use case, like only on a single skill or a single group of skills, or we're using a certain proc to get it. And in many cases, we're just going to open that up to be more widely usable so that players can actually, use them in more different builds or different ways.
That's good.
One example of this that we'll go over later is Chain Lightning's upgrade, Greater Chain Lightning. Currently, it gives you the bounces of Chain Lightning do bonus damage when it bounces off of you. And we're going to change that so that it just does bonus damage when it bounces off of anything. So instead of being kind of a narrow use case where you're only using it like on a boss or a single target enemy and getting value, you'll just get it a lot more often now.
Yeah, it feels like a much better lightning range skill now in that way. It's easier for me to clear packs, so it's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
cool.
So that's kind of what we're looking at for this patch.
Okay, so we talked last week about sort of
I just need to see everything.
Things that we want to do, like going forward in the game, other things we want to do. Not all of that stuff is in this patch.
Yeah, no, we have a lot of talks on our team. We have a lot of things that we're thinking about and going on. I thought it'd be really good also to kind of talk a little bit about how we feel about more longer term goals and things about the game. So these aren't coming in this patch, but things that we're thinking about that'll come in the future that the team's kind of focus on. The first one is kind of finding ways to bring different types of damage closer together. As I'm sure many of you in the community know, vulnerable and crit are really, really strong right now. Yep. Kind of a lot of the meta is about, you make an enemy vulnerable and then you do bonus damage to them and then you stack as much crit strike chance and crit damage as you can and then you blow them up, right? Our game actually was foundationally made with other types of builds that aren't only those in mind, right? We have like damage over time or dot damage, things like Firewall or Shadow Necro does a lot of this. We also have overpower as a mechanic in our game, and these other different ways to build your character. We want them to have parity with, vulnerable and crit damage. So we're going to be trying to find. Our goal is to find a way, and we're working on it right now, that all those different ways of dealing damage have a lot of parity. So no matter if you're an overpower build or a crit build or a damage over time build, you'll be relatively equal in power to all the other different types of ways to play.
Will never happen.
So another one that we're looking at is adding scaling to builds and effects that don't really scale very well in the game. This is something that I think is a big opportunity for us to open up just excitement in different builds in the game. And what I mean by this is we have a lot of legendary powers and effects that spawn a new thing. An example of this is on the Barbarian. There's some legendary powers that spawn earthquakes or dust devils. Another one is the Necromancer has things that leave shadow trails on the ground that deal damage. And these things, they deal what we call flat damage, which is we give it a damage number, and then that's how much it does.
That's
and then that
just
damage number kind of
trash.
scales with player level. But what we find is that a lot of these things are really good in the early and mid game when they drop, but then when you get to the really late game, they kind of fall off really hard. And what we want to do is find ways to add scaling so that the player can opt into making a build out of these things. So if I want to be an Earthquake Barbarian or a Dust Devil Barbarian, I can actually do that, and it's supported by the game. So that's something that we're really excited about because we think that'll open up a lot more build possibilities.
We're talking a lot about... Okay, but
Ultimates
what's...
are kind of in this range as well. That's a more long-term goal.
Show
But
me.
similarly, a lot of ultimates are really strong in the early and mid game. You take it, it blows up the screen, feels great. And then in the late game, a lot of ultimates that we see that are just used because they buff the player in some way.
Yeah, they don't blow up the screen the same way anymore.
Yeah, right. I want you to be excited to use Bone Storm because Bone Storm is awesome, not
Yeah.
because it gives you a buff, right? Or Grizzly Rage or other ones, right? So that's kind of something that we're thinking about in the mid to long term to make the game kind of
In the
open up
mid
and
to
have
long
builds
term,
available.
what? Okay.
So we've been talking.
Okay, but what the fuck is happening right now? Why do they keep saying that? And the guy, my guy is blinking so much. Help me in Morse code. Wait, so when is this happening? I thought this was happening 1.1.1. Are we not getting any of this right now? Am I getting trolled? There's no fucking way. They keep on saying future, long term, and the mid to long term. What does that even mean?
Talking here a little bit about sort of our philosophy here. We're about to get into patch notes. We're about to talk about Sorcerer.
Please. Let's go.
But we thought that it was important to talk a little bit about this philosophy, both because we want to be very transparent in terms of how we're thinking about the game and what kinds of why we're making changes, both so that when you see changes you can understand what we're thinking, what we're going for, and also so that we can incorporate feedback from the community, feedback from you into these kinds of changes.
Yeah, and that goes down even to the format for this particular live stream, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna go through a lot of details really, really soon, which I think people are really excited about. I hope people are really excited about. 'Cause
Let's
we're gonna
see.
have a lot of those.
I'm ready.
And then afterwards, we want to hear back from the community about how how this worked. Was this the best way to get this information? Did you get a lot of good data from us, and do you understand why we're doing making the changes that we are? Right, and to Joe's point, again, it is really useful for you to understand these things. It's going to help with the feedback that you give us back.
I'm ready.
Whether we're hitting it or not.
Yeah,
I'm
and this
still
is, this
ready.
is like a
Let's do it.
multi-stage type of thing. So we're actually gonna. You guys are about to see a ton of slides here in a second, going through pretty much all the different detailed
do it.
balance
I'm
changes
ready.
that are coming across the classes. But then,
I'm ready.
like we said, we do plan on releasing patch notes so that you guys can actually read them in more detail. And in those patch notes will
Holy
be
shit, why are we
additional
still
information,
talking?
such as all the bug fixes and so forth that will be coming in with the game itself with 1.1.1. So.
Do we know when we're getting we plan on releasing those?
So we are. Look at this.
After the stream.
We had
I'm just
planned
asking-
this to
I'm
talk
asking the
about it
question,
later,
sorry,
and now
all right, sorry.
and now let's
get this PowerPoint moving.
We're actually going to release patch notes, full patch notes. You guys will see these patch notes first here on the stream, but we will release patch notes next Wednesday on August 2nd, so that everyone will end up seeing it. We'll talk about the patch date here at the end of the stream. We're closer to the end of the stream.
Yeah, so just wait for the end of the stream. We'll talk about when that's going to go out.
But
Guys,
what
there's
we
a
do wanna
time to
do
be
is We
cute.
do want to jump straight into the
And a time to
balance
just show
changes
the
and so
shit.
forth.
Let's
And
go,
we do want
man.
to start off with the Sorcerer.
Okay, here,
So
let me hide
we
my
have a lot
screen
of
for a
different
second.
slides
Hold
and
on,
changes.
hold on. Let me hide my screen. Here we go. Let me hide it. Fuck me. Wrong click. I'm so sorry. I guess I'm new to YouTube. Boom, boom, boom. Okay.
here that we do want to detail. So
Firebolt?
Adam, I know, wants to go through them all.
Nice.
Yeah, totally. So I think what I'll do is just give you a few moments to look at the screen and kind of see what we're doing, and then talk high level about some of the bigger changes here. So Flickering Firebolt is one we're changing Firebolt to basically just generate mana when you hit an enemy. Before it was only generated when you hit a burning enemy. So when you would just try and cast Firebolt, without doing anything else, you would just always miss the first hit of getting the mana, which felt bad a lot.
That always felt bad.
Yeah, it says negative feedback loop, so we're just going to make it feel nicer. You still feel nice about burning things and piercing,
Okay.
but you just get it more often. Probably another big one here is the greater chain lightning change I talked about, where every time that it bounces, the next hit would deal damage rather than only bouncing off of you. And then we're also buffing the other choice for destructive chain lightning, so you get more crackling energies. Next one, let's go to the passives. These are all the key passives at the bottom of the skill tree. Isu's Ferocity is a big one. You're going to see a lot of these kinds of changes where it used to work kind of in a more narrow use case, and now it works in a case that it didn't, so that's just generically good. This one, it used to not really work on bosses very well. You had to kill enemies by critting them to get the bonus, and now you can also get it during boss fights by just hitting the boss and critting them. So you'll just have uptime and usefulness in a part of the game that it didn't before.
Wait, hold on, what happened to the burn? Hold on. Wait. Your burning effects deal 20% increased damage plus an additional times 2% increased damage per unique source of burning you have. That's a big buff. Holy shit. That's just a 20% damage increase on all your burns. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Next, for Paragon, we're going to talk, let's see, these are a lot of the defensive changes that we talked about. So you've got some damage reduction increases to a lot of the glyphs and nodes across the board. Again, we're targeting that late game survivability for the Sorcerer. Another one that kind of opens up more ways to play.
Warding Glyph is really good. That's 12%. That's big.
Just makes it more usable is the Searing Heat Legendary node. This one is when you cast Fireball or Meteor, now it just increases your crit strike.
If it actually applies.
5 seconds, so you can get that crit strike and use it on any of your skills rather than only on them.
Casting Fireball or Meteor increase your critical strike chance.
Actually, extremely strong.
That's good.
Diablo 4.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
So these things should be pretty impactful.
Yep.
No, yeah, that'll stack up. I mean, just right there. Oh my fucking god, I'm so sorry. Everyone, don't chill out. Relax. I'm only human.
Late game
so
survivability
that's actually a lot. Like 5%, 5%, and 12%. That's 22% damage reduction. That's kind of good. That's good. Okay.
Sorcerer.
I mean, obviously you have to go around and get these nodes, obviously, so it takes time. But if you do get all three, that's pretty good.
Another one that kind of opens up more ways to play and just makes it more usable is the Searing Heat Legendary node. This one is when you actually... Alright, so here we've got some more Paragon nodes. Again, damage reduction
1%,
across the board. Keep in mind that also on some of the rare nodes you can see them twice in a board rather than only once for the glyphs. So that means that this is actually like doubled if you go for both of them. And then we're also increasing the maximum life bonus on a couple of nodes. Again, just targeting that late game survivability. And now Legendary, sir. So there's
this
a lot
is big.
to chew on here.
There's your first one, Serpentine.
Yep, there it is. That's one we talked about before. So now you can have a Hydra active, and instead of the duration being decreased, it's actually going to be increased.
That's good. That's a really good change.
We've got some, again, damage buff numbers to things that are underperforming. Aspect of 3 Curses is one that I'm particularly excited about. Before, this one used to be that it only increased your crit damage of Meteor
Hydra got big
and
buffs,
only
dude.
against healthy enemies. So it was 1 skill and only healthy enemies. Now it's going to work on Meteor and Fireball, and you
Burns
get half
got
of the
buffed,
bonus
dude,
all the
big
time. And then an extra bonus against healthy enemies.
A
So now
lot
you
of
can
burn
use this ability
buffs.
that you weren't able to at all
Big
before.
time.
The next one is pretty good is gravitational aspects. This one was it used to reduce your damage in exchange for the lightnings orbiting around you. Now we're going to increase it. So again, that's a pretty big swing in power. Next, we've got recharging aspect. This one was kind of similar to the change that we did to Chain Lightning to that bonus baseline. It used to only give you mana when it bounced off of you. Now it's going to give you
That's
mana
good.
when it bounces off of everything.
That's strong.
So again, a lot more usable. And in combination with that Unbroken Tether, I think Chain Lightning players are going to be eating pretty this patch.
Chain Lightning's going to be
We're also increasing the
cracked.
bonuses of Chain Lightning that you get when that proc happens. So lots of Chain Lightning bounces. They give you lots of things. Should be really fun.
Lots of mana. Let's go.
We're also putting a new legendary into
And
the
extra
game.
damage.
This is the Mage Lord's aspect. This one makes your Veer's Mastery Key passive, the damage reduction there, be increased by quite a bit so that you can survive when you're in that melee range.
He's like not even
drive,
going through
when you're
everything,
in-
bro. Veer's Mastery, passive damage reduction increased by 20 to 30% for each close enemy. Wait, what is this? The new legendary Mage Lord's aspect. The Veer's Mastery key passive damage reduction is increased by 20 to 30% for each close enemy, up to 60 to 90%. What the hell is that? Any sorcerers in the chat can tell me what that is? Aspect of Frozen Orb damage increase. That's good.
in that melee range.
This is probably going to come out
And
when
let's
D5
see
launches,
here.
right?
Some Snow Veiled aspect is getting a pretty big generic buff, where before it just gave you Unstoppable when you used Frost Starver.
New. Oh, it's a new legendary
Just
aspect. Oh. That's good. We'll have to see how that works, though. If it actually works.
Where before it just gave you Unstoppable when you used Frost Starver.
The Sork's got some nice stuff, I'm not going to lie.
And then, but now it also gives you bonus armor when you use it as well, just generally more useful. Incendiary aspect terrifies me, but we're doing it. This one used to be that it procced off of all of your burning damage. So your burning damage could give you mana, and now it's going to just do it off of your pyromancy skills damage. So this opens up meteor, fireball, all of those other skills that aren't really firewall.
Damn.
I think that's good for that one. And then for uniques, we've got the Gloves of the Illuminator. This is the one where your fireballs bounce and deal AoE damage. Before, when you got this, it was kind of in a very weird place where the bounces could do it pretty often in such a way where you'd only hit an enemy once with a bounce.
Terrible.
And we have to put this damage penalty on it because, you know, you can hit enemies multiple times with it, and it's AoE, and gives you a bunch of procs of all of your stuff, so it's really, really strong. But because you could only hit an enemy once, a lot of times this was just a damage nerf for your character.
Yeah, you'd bounce it one time on a monster, and that was that.
And now
yeah.
you got nerfed for getting unique, right?
That's
that never
right.
feels good. So we reduced the distance that
No
it bounces
shit.
a little bit, so it should be more easy or
No, they
easier
haven't talked
to,
about Barb yet, Ace.
consistently
Not yet.
hit an enemy twice. And then we also reduced that damage penalty, so now no matter what, if you hit an enemy twice, it's a damage bonus. And then we also replaced one of its affixes from damage to stunned to lucky hit to restore resource. And since this thing, you know, bounces and hits
That's
enemies
really
a
good.
lot of time, the lucky hit procs are very
Holy
powerful
shit,
with
Fire
this, so it
Mage.
gives you
Fireball
a
Mage
lot
is going to
more
be
attractive
cracked,
plays.
dude. Jesus.
All right, moving on to the Barbarian.
Barbarian,
so,
Ace,
like
here we
I said
go.
before, we're increasing the Fury generation of all of those basic skills. So you're just going to get more Fury in the early game so that you can, you know, do that basic core skill loop a little more often, so it should be more fun. Double swings gain a damage buff, ruptures gain a damage buff.
10% ain't nothing.
Charges gain a damage buff, and one of the enhancements is increasing that vulnerable
Charge got
duration,
buffed
so it should be
again.
More attractive.
One thing I do want to note is, like, even on the, if we go back to the other slide, like,
Sure.
a lot of people are going, like, Fury gain 11 to 13 and, like, 10 to 13, and they're always, like, noting, like, well, that doesn't feel like a big number and so forth, but I think
By
players...
percentage, it's really big.
Yeah, by percentage,
it also
it's actually
scales
really
with a
big.
whole lot of other stuff. It gets spooky when we do too much in a percent-wise.
Exactly, so I
just
think...
because of how everything works in our game.
I think people are
Just 'cause how
seeing some
you know,
of the smaller
poorly
numbers, but
developed.
not realizing that, you know, other things obviously, it scales with other things and other, and it mixes in with whether you,
I mean,
other
that's
gear that you have and so
Fury
forth. So
generation's
this
not
is
a
just
problem.
the baseline number,
Correct.
and you have to remember that.
I know this is for
obviously
early
when
game,
that number
but-
gets tweaked, everything else gets tweaked. That gets.
Want to point that out
mixes
too when we do like damage increases, where it might seem small because it's increasing the base that everything else.
All right.
Oh, just make it 20, and now you know late game you're just like bashing once and then getting all your Fury back or something, right?
Right.
So you had to damage 2 or more enemies or 3 or more enemies to get a better buff, and now we're adding bosses to that. So when you're in a boss fight, you're just
Oh,
gonna
that's
be able
good.
to get and chain that berserking again, making it usable in a part of the game where it didn't used to be.
That's good.
We've also got Gushing Wounds is one I think worth calling out. This is the key passive. We're increasing the scaling of your bleed to crit damage, and then also your bleed damage when you overpower an enemy is going up significantly.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, so now when you overpower and get that AoE blood burst, it's actually going to do quite a bit of chunky damage, we're hoping. Walking Arsenal is another one worth calling out here. We heard some feedback that, you know, it's really hard to keep up all 3 of your weapon types when
mean,
you're doing Walking
bleed
Arsenal.
damage when
Usually
overpowering
2 is
increased from
fairly easy,
11%
like from a
to
basic of
70.
4 that are different weapons, but getting that 3rd one to consistently happen, especially if you're using a cooldown skill like Charge or Leap or something like that, it can be hard to maintain that. So we're just increasing it to make it more forgiving, which should also increase all of those legendaries and other powers.
By the way,
and stuff.
also berserking damage bonus increased from 25% to 35%.
That was possible for me when I had Deathblow charges, but whenever I was only running like 1 Deathblow charge at a time, like that build just didn't
Yeah,
really come
Deathblow's
online.
probably one of the more one of the easier ones to get, and even then it can be a little hard, right?
Yeah, for sure. This is great. It opens up a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a lot.
So next, let's talk legendaries. Let me see. One of them, the aspect of Unrelenting Fury here, is one worth calling out, where again, you're going to get a benefit when hitting bosses, so now it's useful in a part of the game that it wasn't used in at all.
Holy shit, Thorns got buffed.
Another one is the aspect of, or the 2 Earthquake aspect.
0.5% to 75%, 65% now to 85. Holy shit.
There at the bottom
It's huge.
of Vulkathos and Earthquake. We're increasing the amount of damage reduction and damage bonus, so if you want to do that Earthquake build, you know, like I said before, we want those Earthquakes to do damage and be meaningful, but in the meantime, while you're standing in them, those buffs on you are going to be a little bit more powerful, so hopefully we can incentivize people to go through that fantasy. All right, next, so uniques. We've got a lot of stuff here with Barbarian uniques. Again, the kind of the high-level goal here is we're generally improving just the base thing the unique does, and then also trying to replace an item stat that wasn't very attractive or not as attractive with one that we know players really, really like to make these meaningful for them. So Fields of Crimson, this is the one where you do blood pools when you rupture enemies. We're increasing the damage. We're increasing the damage that enemies take standing in pools, which is a pretty big buff. And then we're also changing the rupture cooldown reduction with bonus crit strike damage. And again, combine that with the bonus in the key passive where the
from
bleed
11 to
damage,
70, right?
yep, where that scales better. That'll just be quite a bit more damage across the board. Hellhammer we talked about. Ramalandi's Magnum Opus, we're replacing the physical damage affix with vulnerable damage. 100,000 steps, the base affix of the boots, we're replacing the evade cooldown affix with just more evade charges. And then we're also replacing the damage against stun enemies with bonus movement speed.
Oh, that's good.
Which you'll see a couple times in boots.
On your boots, instead of having damage against stunned, it's with movement speed now. That's really good.
Because we know how attractive that stat is.
That's really good.
Let's talk about.
sorry.
So, I was just going to say we said
Wait a second.
that we were going to buff Sorceress and Barbarian. We're going to make some changes in 1-on-1. But Adam, you've been working on
rogue
We don't want to
changes.
leave the other 3 classes out, right?
Yeah, totally.
Most of these changes.
Hey guys, there's
that
other
you've
class
seen there
changes.
for Sorc
Stay
and
sharp
Barb.
now.
But I think we had some time to make some changes to the other classes
We
too.
totally did,
see.
so we can go on here.
Wait, he said we had time to make some changes, so we did.
One thing I do want to call out, though, the focus of the patch is the Sorcerer and the Barbarian, so you're going to see a lot more for them, but we wanted to give the other classes something exciting as well. Rogues are actually, I think, eating pretty well right now, so they're pretty good, but we still found some things of underused things to buff. Probably
Holy
one of the more big ones.
shit. Energy threshold increased from 50% to 75% energy regeneration. Oh my god.
Here's
That is
Forceful Arrow.
cracked.
We're changing the functionality here so that every time that you cast, third cast of the arrow just pierces all enemies, which is a pretty big just generic bonus. We got some feedback on Rain of Arrows that it was kind of weird that the second wave was the one that knocked all the enemies down, because a lot of times, you know, you cast a skill.
They didn't need one
and
either.
the
I don't think
combat
they
is
need
in a
one.
certain state where the enemies
Poison
are where
trap
you want
is
to hit
shit.
them, and probably where you want to CC
Damage
them,
on there is
because you want to
awful.
group stuff up to CC them. But because it happens on the second wave, you know, the first wave comes, does a little damage to everything,
Yeah, I get
and then they
it.
all move, and then everything goes falls apart, right?
Hey, you
So
guys
this
think
just makes it
Necros
more
is gonna get
reliable.
buffs, dude?
It sets itself up.
It sets itself
Oh,
up.
more
yeah,
buffs? Holy
exactly.
shit.
Here,
Yo,
let me
Victimize
look if
was
there's anything
trash.
noteworthy. There's some buffs to things that are underused.
Siphoning Strikes is still garbage.
So the aspect of Elusive Menace no longer requires hits to be from close enemies. So again, we're just making things more
Still trash.
generic
Will
and
never be
usable.
used. It will never be used. Anyone use Caltraps? Probably
And
not.
more generic
Aspect of
usable.
Quickening Fog, that's trash. You automatically drop a smoke grenade at the end of your dash. It's okay. Smoke grenades reduce dash's cooldown per target hit. That's okay.
And then for uniques, kind of similar to Barbarian, we found some room here to make a couple stats replaced with things that we know are really, really attractive. So
Oh, the Wind
we
Force.
replaced
That's
the
good.
Stats affix with bonus vulnerable damage.
That's good.
And then the Word of Hakan, we replace ultimate damage with cooldown reduction.
That's decent, I guess.
So Druid, kind of similar to what I said about the Barbarian,
Oh, that's
about
good.
that early game kind of feeling a little bit slow. We're also
Nice.
improving all of the spirit generation of the Druid's basic skills. So across the board, you're just going to be able to get to those core skill casts a little bit easier. We're also improving the passive damage generally of a lot of their companion skills.
Thank God,
so your
they're all
wolves are going
terrible.
to feel better. They're both
Maul
passive and active
17
damage is
spirit,
going up.
that's
The upgrades for
cracked.
the wolves are all going to be a little bit more powerful. And then same thing for ravens, their passive damage is going up. And then brutal ravens, this is the one that gives you another little, a couple more little ravens to go peck your enemies to death. They're also going to peck a little bit harder, so a little bit more.
That's a good
fantasy
question,
fulfilling there.
X-rated.
And
That's
then
a
we're
good
also
question.
looking at rabies. We know that poison druid like just if I want to do pure poison druid, it's a little bit
Rabies buff
behind,
is
so we're really
fantastic.
targeting
That
rabies
shit
as
is
a
garbage.
pretty meaty upgrade there in its damage. This will
Ravens
also, by the
buff
way,
is
improve
great.
the
No one
legendary-
uses Ravens.
I think it's legendary where your wolves can cast rabies. That's also going to be improved by this. So just that whole archetype will be better. And then for legendaries and the class mechanic, we're just buffing some things that are a little bit underutilized, so they'll just be stronger.
Wait, hold
Buffing
up,
some
buddy.
things
Jesus
that are
Christ.
a little bit underutilized. So
What's aspect of the alpha? What is that? Can a druid main tell me what that is? Aspect of the alpha? Damage increase from 75% to 91 to 50. What is that?
they'll just be stronger.
Legendaries.
And then Necromancer, so here we've got quite a few things going on. Bone Spirit, this is the enhanced
Oh,
Bone Spirit,
shit.
which is where when you crit enemies with the Bone Spirit, you get cooldown reduction. We're increasing that from 6 to 7 seconds, so it should be a little more friendly to players in this current state of the game. The Wither legendary upgrade here, this is the one where your shadow dot damage is going up, and we added a new way to scale that damage in the legendary space. We got feedback that this really just wasn't scaling enough to be meaningful, even when you invested a lot into willpower. So
Oh,
now
shit.
you're just going to get a lot more bang for your buck. You're going to do, the requirement is less, so you're going to get more procs of the increase to your damage and chance to proc that damage.
Oh, shit.
And then also just your bonus damage straight up is going to be better. So the shadow builds should be a lot better. Empowering Reaper, we got some feedback that totally makes sense to me now, and a year ago me should have thought of this. But the way that this used to work was Sever would spawn a pool of blight under enemies, and the chance was based on you critting them. So the idea was you would create a crit build, and then you turn your crit into these pools of damage, right? That sounds kind of cool. But it turns out, crit doesn't work with dots at all. So that pool doesn't get scaled with the way that you make the pool. So it just doesn't work design-wise. I take the blame for that. But now we're changing it, so you just have to damage enemies to spawn those pools of blight. So now this can actually be more friendly to dot
Oh,
builds.
okay, Frank, okay.
And then aspect of Explodes Flesh. This one used to have the same effect, but only when hitting vulnerable enemies with bone skills. So now you can just get we have a new resource mechanic for all the Necromancer specs that aren't bone. And then here, let me see, probably one of the big ones to call out, even though it's just a number buff, is Aspect of Torment. That Essence regeneration was just woefully
Ridiculous.
undertuned, so we increased it pretty significantly. Hulking Aspect, this one, I'm hoping gets to see more play. This used to be a resource legendary, which looking at it now was a little weird, because it doesn't actually give you resource, it's just cooldown reduction on the golem skill. So we're going to move that to a utility. So now you can put this on your boots and other places that you didn't have to, and it doesn't have to take
But it's
that
still
primary
trash.
slot to use this legendary. And then we're also updating the effect a little bit to be stronger. And then for uniques,
Still
kind of
garbage.
similar to what I said before, the Greaves of the Empty Tomb. We're changing the bonus intelligence affix to be replaced with bonus move speed, which I know is particularly attractive for Necromancer players.
Yeah, mobility for
Oh,
necromancers.
yeah, well, Necromancers, they may want mobility a little bit. I heard
Usually
from some
the
people.
slower individuals in the group. So
Yeah, helping them out a little bit. Here, this is a monster change, but it impacts minions really, so Necromancer and Druid. But these attacks now from the Balrog and some elite affixes are good. Minions really.
This mobility.
Speed, which I know is particularly.
Reuse of the Empty Tomb. Intelligence affix replaced with bonus movement speed. Didn't they just do the same thing for Barbarian? So now their boots unique actually gives movement speed. Isn't that good? Movement speed, zoomies. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
It's a monster change, but it impacts minions really.
Summon
so
Druid
Necromancer
viable
and
when?
Druid.
Yo, for
But
real.
these attacks now from the Balrog and some elite affixes are going to be dealing reduced damage to Necromancer minions and Druid companions, so your pets will just die less often to these things. And then now we got some of our generic updates. We only have a couple of them. The first one is to a Malignant Heart. This is the Caged Heart of Spellbreaking. And this one used to say that when you took elemental damage, you gained damage resistance to that element, right?
But
was
it's
thematic to
broken.
reducing only that element. But we found that was really, really narrow. Again, trying to open things up so it's
Thank
not so
Christ.
narrowly useful that you're not.
But I think
gonna
still
ever
it's not
take
good
it.
enough.
So now it's just going to give you just generic
still
damage
trash.
reduction when you take elemental damage.
All right, where are the nerfs? Here we go.
And then our last one here for item updates is Temerity. So we got a lot of feedback on this one. It's funny because when we launched the game, we thought that this item was crazy and going to be really, really good. But then we realized due to the stats on it that it just wasn't hitting the attractiveness that we wanted. So even though this terrifies me, We're going to bump it up and see how it goes. We're going to replace the all stats affix with bonus max life. The barrier is now also going to be scaling with your maximum life, and it'll properly be working with other barrier legendaries where you need a barrier.
It wasn't
to do
working
certain procs and
before?
things. This will
Oh
not
my
pop with
God.
that as well. So we think this is going to be a pretty
Yikes.
good buff to this item, and hopefully we'll see it in your like max life and increasive healing builds.
That's good.
Yeah, so we have a ton of updates coming
Any more?
to the classes.
Yeah, a lot of
that
stuff.
we literally
A lot
just
of
went through. It's quite an almost like an encyclopedia of
I want
stuff.
more.
That especially on the Barb and Sorcerer classes. But I will say that it's nice that we got some stuff in for the Rogue, Necromancer,
Barb
and
got
Druid,
buff rage.
players as well. Making sure that
How
we
we doing,
kind
buddy?
of like buffed up some of the more undertuned stuff that we had
Actually, one more caveat to all of that. I should have said this at the beginning. It's not final yet.
seen. Not final
This
yet.
is
That's why
planned.
you probably saw the little
The
watermark
odds are
on it.
very high we do 90% of it or most of it, maybe even all. But as we get into the weeds of things and we're updating things, some things may change. So this is our plan. It's very likely it'll be at least most of it, if not all of it. But it's not completely in the game yet.
Why do they
so-
do
There might be
that?
some number tweaks, basically.
Yeah, we always add a small caveat just because things are still going through testing right now on our side.
Correct.
And we
It's
want to
going
make
through
sure.
testing, all that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
we want to make sure we're not completely.
I'm very careful. I always caveat, not final until you see it in the game.
Adam's
but-
being very cautious about
Yes.
it.
I am very
It's
cautious
not going to
Yeah, but
be.
why are we
you're not going
cautious?
to
Like-
experience something that's totally different from what you just
That's
saw.
right. That's
No.
why. That's also
It'll
why we're
be
not
released.
releasing patch notes today, and we're going to actually discuss when patch notes will be released
We will.
later on
Yeah.
the stream.
Yes.
We'll reveal that.
And one thing I do want to note is like there because I'm seeing this like a little bit in chat and people are
Yeah.
going like, hey, you guys are adjusting some tweaks with like for instance like Druid summons and their minions. Same thing with like there's a lot of questions about like, hey, what's the overall plan on like minion builds and so forth in the future? Is that something
boy.
you guys are still going to want
He
to
said, "Oh,
work on,
boy."
look at in the future?
I've
What
been
a
talking about
jackass.
this for a very long time. Yes. Druid and Necromancer are a little bit different, so I guess I'll talk Necromancer first. So Necromancer minions is absolutely a core fantasy of Necromancer players that minions are cool and awesome, and that you can raise the dead and have the dead fight for you. That is core.
No shit.
Minions, it turns out, in all games, not just ours, or summons or all that, are very complicated and hard to make work. They have a lot of moving parts that are different
course.
than every other class and build archetype in many games. They have AI, they have a passive and active component to them typically. There's a lot going on. So in this patch, we're not touching the Necromancer stuff a lot. It is on the team's radar of looking at the ways that they scale, looking at the ways that things proc with them, looking at just
That's all I'm hearing
the,
right now.
the combination of passive versus active activity that we want the player to do there. So there's definitely a lot going on there. We are thinking
We're
about
talking
it.
about-
There'll be
we're
stuff coming, but
thinking
no
about it.
promises on when, but we are actively talking.
They're just thinking about it. They're not even in the fucking break room of making this shit happen. They're thinking about it. Oh no.
Druid is a little bit different because from the ground up, the class fantasy is not only minions, right? It's like a specific build and way to play.
I'm thinking about it.
One of the things that we were concerned about when launching the game.
I was thinking about fucking going to college and not ever doing YouTube again. I was thinking about it. What?
Is we
Thinking
didn't want
about
the
it.
Druid to like have just as many or more companions than the Necromancer, and they're stronger. It's like, where's the fantasy of the Necromancer if the Druid does it better, right? So that was something that we contended with a lot. I'm sure that we're going to flex on that over time. We did add support. We still love companions on Druid, and we will absolutely be making it more of a thing. Hence why we're buffing them a lot in this patch. But
I
we are
wouldn't say a
careful
lot.
about
Relax.
the design space and the fantasy of the different classes, right? We don't want all the classes to be exactly the same because then you don't feel different when you're playing. You don't have new interesting mechanics that are between them. We talk about that a lot on the team. It's very easy to be like, hey, just this class doesn't have this and it's fun, give it to all the others, right? I think Necromancer and move speed is part of that. Where
I'm
we
thinking about
overcorrected a
PoE
little
2
bit,
right
where,
now.
we didn't want them to have a teleport or dash, right, like a rogue. If Necromancers are dashing around everywhere, that's a weird fantasy, right? But not giving them enough movement speed options at all, I think, is something that we're coming back on.
Yeah.
So, but it's a push and pull, right? It's on a spectrum of how far do we go to go into another class's fantasy or an archetype that doesn't make sense fantasy-wise.
I could
versus
agree.
Keeping true to the core and finding clever ways to fix it, or we can't fix it and we do need to bend a little bit. And
Yeah,
it's
it's-
always a conversation.
It's also interesting to see that the feedback, particularly on Druid companions, like we knew that they were really cool, but like the number of Druid players who were looking for more ways to kind of make more companion-focused builds is maybe a little bit higher than we expected.
Yes.
So this is one of those situations where, like, kind of in
would've
response to the
killed
fact
for
that
that.
players are really hoping, like, Druid players are looking to go after this fantasy of, like, I am the master of the animal kingdom, and I'm going to have all these and nature, right? I'm going to have all these buddies with me. I think it's kind of like moving our hand a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, actually, there is something really cool here. There is fantasy here for us to really latch onto, and more that we can do. But to Adam's
Absolutely.
point, it's still very important we make sure that the necromancer feels distinct and the druid feels distinct after these changes go in.
Correct. It's the eternal struggle for us on class design.
Sure.
Yeah. We also have a lot of
Okay.
like quality of life items that we wanted to talk about that we actually kind of hit on last week
Oh, sure.
when we were talking
Oh, boy.
on the campfire chat that would be coming in 1.1.1, and I know we wanted to talk a little bit more about those here. I know we have some changes coming for like monster density, for instance.
Yeah, I want to talk about monster density. So we've said a few times now that we're going to increase monster density in Nightmare Dungeons and Helltides. These changes are in 1.1.1.
Please, God.
Like we said,
Where am I
last
waiting?
week. And I think we have an image of an example of a Nightmare Dungeon. So this is how it is today.
That shit is trash!
If you go into Nostrada's Deepwood, of course, monsters are going to not be exactly like this, but this is an example of it. And then in 1.1.1, it's going to change, so you can see
There's
a lot
one
more.
more? They added one more elite? You're fucking with me!
Oh yeah.
Here.
There it is.
And this is really going back to, we talked about our mission statement for the live game. You go into
That's no fucking way!
Nostrada's Deepwood, and then in 1.1.1, it's going to change, so you can see a lot more monsters here.
There it is.
And this is really going back to, we talked about our mission statement for the
There's
live
one
game
more
of,
elite?
after you've achieved your build, being able to.
Bro, fuck the regular mobs. Okay, they added a... Okay. Let's be honest. There's more of these mobs. Okay, sure. But I want more elites. Elites are like where I can really pump my fucking damage. Am I trolling? Let me get ones in the chat if this is like not enough. No, for real, no bullshit. Like, let's be. Am I an idiot? Like, no, don't fuck with me. Be serious with me, guys. Those mobs have elites in them? Skulls are objectives? I'm praying to God you're right.
This is really a live game of after you've achieved your build, being able to go in and mow down large numbers of enemies, deal with large numbers of enemies. That's sort of a core part of an ARPG.
Kill a bunch of minions. We want to kill like 4 or 5 elites at once.
Especially in endgame content. So that's how to look for Nightmare Dungeons. On Helltide, we've been doing the same thing, increasing density. As I said last week, there are some areas of Helltide that are highly dense, and we want to make sure that all of our players across all of the different platforms that we support can enjoy this increased density. So it's not just the people with the absolute top-end equipment. So we've also been making sure that as we bump up these densities, that
Blood it.
that we're
Just
doing
let
it in
the
a way
Hellgates
that
loose, man.
performance stays reasonable. So you can actually, like, if we bump up density and then the game turns into a slideshow, we didn't actually make the game more fun, even though there are a lot of monsters. So it needs to stay performant at the same
Fuck
time.
it.
So we've been working on that at the same time.
Let
so that we can
loose
really
the floodgates. I want a million guys.
hit that target. And this is something too that when 1.1 comes 1.1.
1.1.1.
We gotta have like
Triple one.
We gotta have a different name for these patches. For these patches, it's fine. It's fine. When that comes out, we're going to be looking at the density there and seeing how close it comes to this mission statement, this goal, right? And if it's not hitting this goal, then we're going to keep working toward that goal. So we really want to make sure that it's capturing that fantasy of mowing down hordes of enemies.
Yeah, it's a great goal for us to line ourselves around too, right? So once we're able to capture more data from players on live, we can see how players with different like PC specs are able to interact with some of these spaces. It's going to continue to inform us and let us do more and more double down some of these decisions as we go.
And then I know we have some changes coming in regards to bosses and so forth as well.
That's right. So we didn't talk about this last week, but we have gotten a lot of feedback before about the about players, particularly like in World Tiers 3 and 4, fighting like dungeon bosses and world bosses, and being able to go in there with their enhanced power. Now they've got like some uniques online. Their build has really come online, and they've got like a lot of like damage to vulnerable targets. You know, like they're mowing through some of these bosses faster than we expect, right? So, or rather, fast enough that's not really challenging and not really engaging. So we are boosting the health of bosses in World Tiers 3 and 4. You know, at brackets as you're kind of going up the experience. But you know, in exchange for this, in exchange for making some of these pieces just a little bit harder as players are going through them, we are also going to be making a change to the rewards that you get from going through these.
Yeah.
So now, like after 1.1.1 goes live, dungeon bosses starting at level 35 even. So this is before you can get into World Tiers 3, 4, and 3 and 4. And then it's the so once you've done that, or once you've killed those, you're going to have a guaranteed legendary item drop.
That's good.
In that space. And that's going to carry up as well into World Tiers 3 and 4. When you complete a Legion event, that's going to also give you a guaranteed legendary drop starting at level 35. You know, there's a chance before 35, but it's guaranteed at level 35. You're going to have one pop in. And then another Butcher has a 100% chance to drop a legendary as well, because he's a boss, of course. And then another really big one is we got, and this is funny, I did it. Please don't follow me on Twitter unless you really want to see a lot of nerdy stuff. But I did a Twitter poll a while ago where I basically just said you know, what do you think is the chance at which a treasure goblin will drop a legendary item? And I said it was like, you know, 10%, 25%, 40%, 50% with the four
I put
options.
40.
The majority of players voters, I should say, right, all selected 10% was the chance, and everybody had their own, you know, their feelings on it as they were kind of going through it. But the reality is at level, and I said level 50 Treasure Goblin as part of this, but the reality is they have a 50% chance to drop legendary items today. And that's like going back to like
Should
level
be
35.
100.
They've got a very, very high chance to drop legendary items. But
So what you're saying is sometimes I kill a treasure goblin and it doesn't drop a legendary item.
That's
Yeah,
correct. That's exactly right. So basically, if you flip a quarter every 25 minutes, you know, that's basically your chance to get a legendary item when you're fighting treasure goblins.
That's garbage.
It's very easy to have like tails 5 times in a row, and then
That's what happens to me every time.
And as humans,
No, it
we are
doesn't.
7 times more likely to remember a negative thing than a positive thing.
Don't talk with your mouth full.
This is nothing wrong with rather. There's nothing wrong with the player's perception of treasure goblins not feeling rewarding.
I'm only
you don't
human.
see them that frequently relative to other content
I'm only
types.
human.
And when you don't get a legendary item from something called a treasure goblin, that can feel bad. So what we decided to do is we've gone back and said, starting right at level 15 for treasure goblins, 15, they have a guaranteed legendary item drop chance when you kill one from that point forward. So now when you see treasure goblins on the map, you start hearing them like snortling around in the corners of your screen. You know you need to go fight that thing. You need to take it out. You need to get a legendary item from it. That happens very, very early. So we think that's going to be like a really fun like updates to kind of help get these things across. 50% isn't useful in this case. 100%, absolutely. We want you to feel like you're getting that power.
No more,
No
no more coin
shit.
flip. No more coin flip.
Yeah, actually
And-
probably more than 50% more fun.
I will
Say
note,
100% fun.
Joe
Yeah.
missed a wonderful opportunity to drag in Gabi, the goblin.
Oh.
The treasure goblin?
into the frame.
Should I try
We have
to
a
pull
plush
this in?
treasure goblin just off
we,
screen.
We have a very large plush.
Here's
There he
this
is.
giant treasure
There
goblin
he is.
that
Look-
absolutely doesn't fit on camera
Look
at
how
all.
happy he is.
And
that
now
he-
he's off
Happy
camera
to
He's
give
again.
you
legendary.
loot now.
Staring at Joe as he's literally talking
Yeah, we
about.
have a lot of other stuff to discuss.
Staring at Joe
Very
as he's
important.
literally talking about killing him. So yeah.
Yep.
They're happy to be of help.
It is a plush creature. So yeah.
I know, and so we talked more about, or you actually, when we were on the stream last week. Sorry, bleh, about 2 weeks in a row, you guys. We talked about respecs and so forth. So I know that is also coming in.
Yeah,
in 1.1.1.
we just want to confirm that the stuff we said last week, we're going to reduce respec cost by 40%. Players are going to get an extra stash tab, and elixir stat count is going to go up to 99.
Yeah, and the stat shop is just purchasable by
That's
gold.
right.
So
Yeah.
that's just to make sure that people don't
That's
think
right.
we're just
Yeah.
selling it.
Tab 1's 100K, Tab 2's 200K, Tab 3's 300K, Tab 4 is going to be 400K.
Yeah.
So you can buy that for your seasonal stash and for your eternal stash.
Yes, exactly. And then one other thing that we did want to talk about, because this was a question that came up last week in regards to like the leaving dungeon options and like teleporting out of dungeons and so forth. And I know you wanted to talk more about that here today.
I don't know. I think I explained it pretty well last time.
So clear.
So clear.
There's a loop there. I don't know why anyone's confused. This is very clear. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to change it back to 3 seconds.
Yes.
Basically,
Then why'd we
the
do
reason
it?
that we
Oh my
increased
God.
This is we have in Diablo 4.
Oh
we
no,
have
this
a
patch
mechanic
doesn't go
where
live at all.
When you're
It's-
casting,
we
some
don't even have a
kind
date
of,
on it technically. I think it's going to be
spell or
like a
power,
week and a half away, a week,
and you
2
get
weeks.
hit by some damage. You don't get interrupted immediately. You have to take about 5% of your health and damage before it gets interrupted. And this makes things like town portaling back to town, leave dungeon, etc., feel a lot better.
Saving a prisoner.
Saving a prisoner, absolutely,
Oh,
yeah.
Every time.
So if you're taking like really incidental damage, it's not going to get interrupted. But we were worried about a case where you're in the middle of a high intensity combat fight or in the middle of a boss fight, and we felt like it was a little bit too easy to get out of that in terms, and that's actually what it's referring to with the loop, which again, I felt like I nailed it, but I guess you know, and so. You know, there are other ways that we could have solved that, right? We could have said like, oh, well, you get pushed back on your cast, or like, oh, well, it's only increased to 5 seconds if you're in a boss fight, or something like that. But ultimately, you know, what players really accurately pointed out is, look, this slows down the core loop of the game in a way that's not fun.
Yeah.
So we're just changing it back to 3 seconds.
Yeah, so it was at 3 seconds, went to 5 seconds, going back to 3 seconds because, you know, obviously good player feedback, from everyone. So
I've got one more bonus thing to talk about too. So we've been getting a lot of feedback, obviously, on the end game experience tiers 3 and 4, and you know, Nightmare Dungeons are a really big part of that. Last week we talked about how we were going to be ensuring that the Nightmare Dungeon difficulty was scaled more appropriately.
Right.
So now, like, you know, the tier 70 difficulty was the old version. Rather, the old version of tier 70 is now the tier 100 after the changes that we made to more accurately reflect the balance we have in Diablo 4 versus the kind of insane overtuned stuff we had prior for the tier 70 plus content. One other thing that we obviously are thinking about, like, you know, the scaling difficulty is one part of this, you know, but we also get plenty of feedback on on some of the Nightmare Dungeon affixes themselves.
Yes,
we know that some of
please,
these
God.
are sort of ones you're going to want to basically throw in the trash right away. So you're going
Dude.
to want to salvage these and get Citadel Dust immediately upon when some of these things kind of pop up. So a couple of the
Yes.
ones that we're actually going to be, for now, we're going to be removing a few of these as we think about reworking them or deciding what we want to do with them. But we're going to be taking these out in 1.1.1. They're
Resource
not gonna appear
burn.
anymore. That is, so the first is Resource Drain. It's not going to be showing up in Nightmare Citadel.
Yes,
Citadels
sir. Get that
Cold
shit
Enchanted
outta here.
It's not going to be showing up in Nightmare Citadel
Get
anymore,
that shit outta
for
here,
a bit.
too.
And then Backstabber is being removed
Get
as well.
that shit
as
outta
part of
here, too.
1.1.1. Now, this is
Let's
not by
go.
any means
Scram.
an exhaustive list of the things we'd want to like adjust on the affix side.
Get
You know, there's
that
lots more
shit
that we want to do to
outta
improve
here,
this experience. It's just
trash.
sort of like a, while we're in here beginning to look at these things, we know that
That's
these
good.
are problematic. We have adjustments we want to make anyway. We want to go ahead and pull these out and just
That's
make these things
good.
better today for players.
Yep. Cool. Awesome to hear. I know that a lot of
That's
players
actually
have been
really
getting
good.
feedback about specific,
Saga, what's going on, baby? How we doing?
Nightmare Dungeon affixes
Yeah.
and everything. So it's great that we've been able to jump on a few of the ones that we know are problematic with the community.
Barb is still
and kind of
bad?
pull them out and reevaluate.
They
and
didn't
see what
really
we can end up
do
doing.
much for Barb. I'm gonna be honest.
We did. Obviously, we talked about the date for the patch notes beforehand.
I don't know what you mean.
But we do want to specify
Joe was
that we are going to be
pissed
releasing
about that.
patch notes, full patch notes next week. It's actually going to be on August 2nd next week on Wednesday. We'll be releasing full patch notes. And then
Okay.
1.1.1 is going to be coming out on August 12th, which is Tuesday.
What?
So players will... Did I get those dates right? Yes. I'm doing this
hope
by
so.
memory. I'm
Honestly,
doing it
I
by
have
memory.
no idea.
How
I've
fucking
seen some-
far is August 12th from now? It's 2 weeks? Damn. Oh. What, dude? All this is coming in 2 weeks?
So many calendars in the last day.
Tuesday after.
Oh, sorry. It is no. I lied.
think it's
It
not
is
the
August 8th.
Yeah.
See, this is dates. Just
Everything's
flying through
August
my
8th?
head.
August 8th.
Sorry, August 2nd is
What?
when the patch notes will be coming out
Yeah.
in full, and then August 8th is when the patch will
Tuesday
actually hit.
after, yeah.
Sorry, I apologize. I've had a lot of dates in my head over the past couple of weeks.
Sorry, we
so,
buffed the date.
Yeah, buff the
Buff
date.
the dates.
So
that's-
August 8th, I mean, I thought it was going to be next week. It's still a week and a half. Whatever, I guess it's better than the 12th.
Also part of the patch notes.
I just gotta shut up
But
and stop
so
complaining.
players will be able to see everything next Wednesday. We'll be posting those, so make sure to stay tuned. Of course, on the Diablo social media, etc. We'll end up updating the patch notes there, so players can see it. Just remember, the patch is not that day. We're just posting the notes early so that players can actually see them. This goes back to exactly how we were talking about that we want to better communicate these notes here, similar to how we're doing this here on this campfire chat. And then, of course, August 8th is when the patch will end up going live for all players so that they can actually experience it and jump through with all the changes that we are kind of detailing out here, and they'll be seeing in the final patch notes on Wednesday next week. We do want to jump into Q&A because we just went through a whole bunch of stuff
right.
right here. I know one
Week and a
question
half.
that, as we start to populate questions, feel free to ask them in chat.
Whatever,
on
I'll just
Twitch,
get
by
a
the way, 'cause we have
sa-
chat
a
enabled
sorcerer
there.
prepped up
but
and a
I know
druid prepped
one
up, I
question,
guess.
and something that we talked
What
about
else am I gonna
last
do?
week, as we're waiting for questions to kind of come in,
Fuck it.
was about XP in later game, or for late game players and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. Do we have any update and in regards to that?
I already
specific
said
topic?
yes.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So we did talk about this last week, and what we said then was that, you know, we are not looking to make the game feel slower across the board. We're not looking to like slow down the players like XP game
Yeah,
rate.
so
in
it's
response to,
3
like,
weeks,
feedback about some of the
actually.
changes that we had made.
Ludovic.
You know, the goal was really we want to make sure the players are having a good time progressing through World Tiers 3 and 4, not feeling like they're hitting a point where it's really really difficult to make progress. So in response to some of these thoughts, we had gone through and we had raised the amount of experience that you gain from
Nightmare
like
Dungeons.
before the 1.1 patch went out. We raised the amount of experience gain you get from Nightmare Dungeon completion, from Helltide Cache opening,
Right.
from Whisper completion. Like we went and did a good buff on those activities to make them feel juicier as part of that. And now we're going through and we're updating density inside the Nightmare Dungeons and in
Which is
Helltide
gonna
areas
increase
as well.
experience,
Yeah. So all of all this to say, we are committed to increasing the speed at which the players be progressing through these later world tiers. We're not happy with the speed at which players are getting through some of this content and the kinds of behavior incentivizing as a result of that, right? We want to make sure that players feel that they can play the way that they want and they can progress at a decent pace. But now that we've made a number of these changes, we do want to see what the impact's going to be on the overall XP gain rate across the board for players, and just seeing how different kinds of players are progressing. So that when we go through and we make changes, which we will be making soon, I think probably likely for season 2, when we go through and we make these changes, that's going to be informed by what we see players going through and what their experience is like now.
Yeah,
So it's really just a question of like how much are we going to make adjustments, like what's going to feel right, and that's going to be based on like what we see from players.
We have 2 people actually asking pretty similar questions, but one was specifically calling out Adam Jackson and his thoughts on this. But but they both are very similar questions. One is from Febzilla, the other one's from Karnaga.
I'm so sorry. Can I just jump in really quick? Can I ask chat a question? Do you, yes or no, do you want Adam to read the names of people that he is getting the questions from the chat?
I think we
That
should.
Adam.
Yes.
Okay, he's saying he should. Okay.
I think we should,
Yes.
just because I don't want to go into that whole situation.
Why
Where
shouldn't you?
that other outlet
Okay.
made up names, and we don't do that. So,
Sure.
But Karnaga and
why
Fedzillas,
wouldn't you?
they both ask about. People are all like, no.
I knew it. I knew it.
Honestly, it would make my job so much easier.
I know.
I wish I
Please
could.
finish your
Well,
question.
we're going to
Sorry.
read these at
Read
least.
these,
But
yeah.
the question is about crowd control. Obviously,
Diminishing
it
returns.
is a huge and popular topic amongst
In the future,
community.
we'll talk about it.
What are our thoughts about crowd control? What are we planning on doing about that here in the future?
I bet we all have thoughts on that, actually.
We do, yeah.
Yes.
Let me
You
just
can
say
jump on
first
that,
that we think that.
Look at him
let me-
fix that beautiful head of hair. Watch this. Look him fix this. Look at him fix this glorious head of
You
hair.
can say
jump on
first
that, yeah.
that
What an angel.
we think
Like a poor little boy.
that
Fuck me,
as you get into
dude.
situations where there are lots of monsters on screen and high-end areas where the amount of damage that you're seeing going in and out is really high, so you're having to react really quickly.
Gorgeous
situations
hands,
where
those
you're being
claws.
hard CC'd or like stun or freeze or something like that can be much more impactful than they are when the intensity and the pace of combat is lower. And so we want to make changes to CC to make that experience more fun. We want to do that. It's not in 1.1.1.
Yeah,
those are
in
changes
future.
that we're working on
Yeah,
right
of
now.
course.
Yeah.
There's larger CC stuff that
Yeah.
we're discussing internally that we want to kind of pair with a few of the big changes we have planned in the
Yeah.
future.
In fact, we're working on stuff like that for that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a
See it in
question
season 2.
here regarding. It's my favorite question because I always get this. It's from Cookie Drops. So, are you guys planning on addressing the issues
Thank you,
related
Tay
to
Jones.
like,
Love
the
you, buddy.
and perfectly balanced on Necromancer, the Decrep aura on Necromancer, and those are addressed in 1.1.1.
In the future.
those are. We just didn't list all the bug fixes
Yeah.
and stuff
There's
like
a
that.
whole lot of bug fixes.
Yeah, so you guys will see those with
That's
the final notes and everything, but those are addressed
Future.
in this specific update, and it's something that I know a lot of people have been asking, going like, well, I can only add 1 point, yet it says I can add 3, and so forth. So most definitely being addressed in that. We've actually just been getting a general decent amount of questions related to resistances and what the intent is going to be with resistances here in the future. There's a ton of questions, so lots of
I
names.
fucking hate that word.
But
Sure, yeah.
I guess like what's the vision
Sure.
on resistances?
Yo, can I get some
I talked
futures in
about
the
it a little
chat,
bit.
please?
The vision is kind of, I think, what the standard vision of most games is, which is everything is impactful and meaningful and feels good, and you invest and get rewarded for those things at all times. But, reality is a little bit harder than that, but that is kind of the North Star and what we're trying to do. The idea is that when you invest in elemental resistances, you will notice a difference in the damage that you take. We don't want just, armor or damage reduction or any, keen stat that is just way better than everything else. That's the only thing that you care about. It is
so good.
tough to find a perfect balance there of
Future.
how impactful some things should be versus others, and then can you negate certain kinds of combat when you max things out or only focus on only one thing. And there's a lot of gray area there that we're talking about, but our goal is that, and when we go and really take a deep dive at it, is one, we don't want you to just stack armor and that's better than everything else. We don't want you to stack just general damage resistance and that's just better than everything else. We want elemental resistances to be meaningful, but we also don't want to
One
get to
day.
a place where, you fight a fire boss
He goes
and
one
you stack
day.
all fire resistances and it actually can't hurt you.
When?
There's always a push and pull in this one.
The inverse of
fuck
that
is that gonna
actually
happen?
also really dangerous, which
I
is
was-
that you're wandering through the game. You don't always know the kinds of creatures or affix. Obviously, you don't know
One
the kind
day.
of affixes you're going to be dealing with. You've got 0% poison resistance, and you get
And you just
basically
die.
1 tick from a level 60 poison creature kills you.
Sure.
Right. It's like
It's a
there's
balancing
there's a balancing act. The team is, as we move forward, everything that Adam just said is 100% accurate. We want to make sure that the choices between armor for mitigation,
thinking about
for
it.
damage resistance based on passives, legendary powers, glyphs and paragon nodes, those things are impactful, and that resistance plays a really, really important role. The big difference here is that resistance is a thing that you are going to stack and earn separately, and that they are usually tied to affixes or inherent affixes on rings and jewelry. So it means that some players will be able to go and encounter situations where they are not going to have a
Or beta
predictable amount of
testers,
resistance when
shit.
they go into an encounter, which means that we just need to think about what that is going to feel like for that player. And imagine a world where they are able to still complete the content, but it's much more effective to have the appropriate amount of resistance. We need to make that feel impactful.
I
So
agree.
there's
Josh,
gonna be
well, that's
situations
an
where we
amazing
are
point.
going to ensure that if you are getting into a predictable fight against a creature that you know is going to be dealing a certain kind of damage, and you don't have resistance in
What about ghosts, where they fucking one-shot you with one lightning? I was getting one-shotted with Fixune the other night, literally 100% to 0.
mind when you go into that fight, you're
Oh,
going to be
it's
penalized for that. That's
trash.
going to be a really, really difficult situation for you. But we are, trying to balance this against the general flow of Diablo 4 as it stands today, as opposed to trying to remake it into an entirely different experience.
Right. And to sort of get to I think the point of the question, the question there, which I think is, do you guys realize that resistances don't feel like they're hitting that goal right now?
That's right. Yeah.
We do
Yeah.
realize.
Yes.
We're gonna,
Yes.
Goal,
make
it's not
things
hitting
fast.
anything.
All right, sounds good.
Imagine if it
there
was off
is,
screen.
a lot
Oh
of
my
questions
God.
about mounts and how, like, we've gotten a lot of feedback about mounts. We've seen Carbot videos. Our friend Carbot Animation had made an episode about mounts. Very funny if you haven't seen it. Highly recommend checking it out. But are there any discussions? Are you guys aware? Like,
Let's
what are
lighten
you
up
guys
the
planning on
mood.
doing,
But how we
in
fucked
relation to
up.
mounts?
Yeah, there are a few changes here. So we want to make mounts feel better, sort of broadly speaking, and a couple of those things are making sure that the boost feels really good, especially with controller, where it's underperforming, and the boost actually, the boost mechanic on the mounts, it actually stacks. There's a bug right now with that on controller where it's not stacking properly. We're going to fix that, there's a few other. There's a key part of this is that the mount gets stuck on things, and that's
Stuck on
Barricade.
anything.
one of the things that barricade, for example. We in theory, the idea that you're riding through an area and some bandits or some skeletons have set up a barricade for you, and you have to sort of like dismount and fight all those skeletons. Like, that sounds like a fun idea.
No, it's not.
It doesn't exactly play out that way. You're just sort of annoyed, and you're like, well, can I like kind of ride around the top of the barricade? And then it's a fight about whether the collision actually touches. Anyway, we're going to fix that. So there are some good changes to mounts coming
In the future.
soon in the future.
I love
And
that.
I know that I've been seeing this a lot as well. in
I
chat,
love
and this is
that.
something I can answer.
It's my
is,
favorite. It's coming in the
I'm
future.
seeing a lot of people talk about VRAM, like on PC and so forth, and like how that
Guys think it'll
obviously
cost
grows
money?
over time with certain players, not all players, but certain players with certain spec machines, and they
it's coming in the
eventually either
future.
have to force close, or the game actually just ends up closing itself, and then they have to come back into the game. I know with patch 1.10, there was a update related to a memory leak that we ended up addressing, but then in 1.11, and I know that QA and so forth, our QA team has been working really closely with our graphics engineering team and testing out a fix that's going to be coming in there that should be helping out a lot of those players and making sure that VRAM stays stable throughout their gameplay and so forth. So that will also be in 1.11. It's a popular question. I know a lot of people have been hitting me up on that one specifically. There was a question earlier about overpower and the intent behind it, what like future plans and so forth.
Sure,
Kind
I
of
can
similar
talk
to
to that
the
one, yeah.
resistance questions. I think there's a lot of questions related to a lot of these things that we do plan on actually addressing.
Totally, they're
Coming in the
fundamentally
future.
like how the game works, so
Yeah.
I understand. So the intent of Overpower way back in the day was we really wanted to create a stat that was different than crit and felt meaningfully different that players could chase, that had kind of a unique mechanic attached to it. Where Overpower sits now is that the idea of it I think is really cool, which is it rewards you for building a really tanky character and you get a big hit of damage that's really, really awesome. It also scales off of your max health and then the current health percent that you have at the time, and then also scales with Fortify. So normally these stats aren't things that you want to scale to kill things, right? So we were trying to add another avenue, a vector to do that. And then the other thing that's unique about Overpower and how we didn't want to just turn into critical strike chance and damage like a lot of mechanics can be, is that you have a baseline low percent to do it, right? It's 3% across everything. And you can never increase that baseline percent ever. And that is a design choice and a goal. And then the idea is that you can, however, get guaranteed overpowers by doing certain mechanics. So the Druid has some, the Necromancer has some where it's like, hey, you do this thing, and the next one is guaranteed. So you can still play around it, but unlike crit, where you're chasing the random chance to get higher and higher and higher to get those procs, overpower just naturally happens kind of rarely, and then the builds that can use it get it guaranteed. And then that you have different vectors and avenues to scale it. The problem right now with overpower really is not necessarily an overpower problem, but it's really the crit vulnerable problem of these other things that scale multiplicatively just overshadow overpower in the same way that even dot damage is very much a lot of times overshadowed too. And so when we're looking at our revamp, the dream and the goal and the utopia we're moving towards is all of these vectors, and not even just overpower, but there's some other ones that I know I'm thinking of that I can't, like those legendary affixes of spawn stuff is another example.
Oh, sure, yes, yeah.
Like we want, when we give you a fantasy as a player, whether it's baseline or via legendaries and uniques, that you're able to build that into the late game and it's delivered on, and you can actually scale and be just as good as anybody else. That's the goal. That will always be the goal that we move towards. We're not there yet, obviously, but that's kind of the intent. Is Overpower is another stat that you can actually chase meaningfully via lots of other stats too that it combines with to make a build, and that's kind of the point.
Awesome.
Diablo for you, dude.
This is a question
Shit,
that I know
believe
everyone
it.
talks about. I don't know if this group up here
1000%.
can fully answer it, but it's something that we can follow up on, which is the zooming in and zooming out on your character, getting a wider look of gameplay and so forth. I know there's like performance implications to that because it increases the draw distance and so forth, and we have a ton of different platforms, so it has to be evaluated in any type of way.
Coming
if we were
patch
to make that type
222.
of, change, because even when it does zoom out on bosses and so forth, there's like some resolution or scaling and so forth that kind of occurs there. That's Please don't kill me, engineers, if I'm saying that wrong. But maybe that's another topic we can bring up during like another campfire chat with engineers.
I agree,
possibly
Michael.
To maybe
That's literally what
clarify
it
a
is.
little bit on that or so, or we can just follow up separately after the campfire chat. But I know that's a question that a lot of people have been asking. And then there's questions regarding are there any additional options for customization down the road that you guys are looking at, like pets or wings, etc. I know it's something that we're looking at and evaluating, just depending on like player feedback. Right now, we're very focused on, obviously creating more content for players to play through at the moment, more so than some of the cosmetic pieces and so forth.
Don't you fucking dare bring up pets and wings right now. This is the worst possible time to bring up wings and pets. Even though it's cool, don't get me wrong, do not bring that shit up right now. People will freak out. Please.
But it is something I know that players...
We're talking about it in the future.
Yeah, we want to add more stuff like that. That stuff is really fun to add.
Sure,
but
it's
we felt
cool,
that
but, like-
right now what was really important is
just
helping sorcerers, helping barbarians, and some
Please.
of these other buffs to classes.
And I think there's, we'll do this one last
They're gonna
question
cause a fire.
here before we end the stream. But one thing that people have been asking about is like all the changes that they're seeing today. Is this like encapsulating everything that we're doing? We had a question in here regarding like, for instance, someone enjoyed playing a frozen orb sorcerer in like Diablo 2, for instance, and wanting to have that same type of fantasy in Diablo 4. Do you guys plan on doing
Those wings,
additional
though.
adjustments in the future regarding other builds or other, like creating Diablo 4? Do you guys plan on doing additional adjustments in the future regarding other builds or other, like creating variability across that?
Sure, no, absolutely. This patch, I talked a little bit about like we have our short-term goals and long-term things we're thinking about. Forevermore long-term, really, infinitely long-term, is the idea that, every fantasy that we sell you, and I could talk a lot about, I talk to the team about this all the time.
And by sell, we
Yeah, all right. Yeah, sell is probably the bad word. But I think that we've like...
We're
when
advertising it. Like if you see it on legendary
Every
aspects,
fantasy-
That's really what I
if you
mean
see it on
is-
passives, you see it on
Yes.
skill tags, like we're saying like, hey, look, this is a cool thing for you to
When
go
we
after.
show you something that is cool and awesome, we deliver on it, right? Like when you log into Necromancer, you see...
Oh, CrossFit Nerd with the Comeback Kid membership. Thank you so much, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a member in the chat, let's get some howdies in the chat for the Comeback Kid membership. CrossFit Nerd, dude. Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate the love and support.
Right away, just when you see your basic
Thank
shows, like,
you,
hey, there's a
dude.
bone thing, a shadow thing.
Thank you so much,
and
buddy.
a blood thing, right? And then there's army stuff.
Big
All of
ol'
those things should be
howdy
delivered
do.
on,
Thank you,
and
man.
it's
I
awesome.
appreciate the love.
And then
Means
as
the
you go
world.
through the game, when you get legendaries and uniques, you should unlock, one, double down and make those things really cool, and two, unlock more things that are awesome. And what our goal always is that all of these things are awesome and cool. When we find something that isn't hitting the mark, we either buff it or redesign it in such a way that it's hitting the mark and it's attractive and ideally really fun and exciting for players to
Oh, wow. 5 gifted subs, too, dude. Woo! Oh, man, we got to play the animation. Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely huge today. Thank you so much, buddy. Insane, dude. Woo! That's a huge one, baby. Absolutely cracked out of his mind, yo. Thank you so much. Love your content. Wow, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it, dude. I wish Izzy was here. He'd be freaking out over the song right now. Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it. It
So that's
means the
always what we're gonna be trying
world.
to do.
Thank you, buddy.
So yeah, this isn't exhaustive
Appreciate
forever.
the
We're
love,
always
man. I
gonna be
hope to see you in
adapting and
streams more
updating
often.
things, and if something
be
just
streaming
really
tomorrow.
isn't working, even if it's like something that I made, I have no hubris about like, hey, that thing that was awful, make it something good, right? Like
Thank
at the
you,
end
buddy.
of the day, the players are the ultimate judge, jury, and executioner for us of like,
Exactly.
did it work? Is it good? Is it fun? Yes or no? If not, then we have to be malleable enough to change that.
Right, and we could be looking at data too. We could be seeing like
Yeah.
how many players are picking what kinds of passes, what
Absolutely,
kind of
we
aspects
do
are they
all the time,
wearing, what
yeah.
kind of uniques are they using, like, and we can see, you know, it's like we know when like if no one's equipping a particular aspect, like we can see that, but like okay, well that's clearly something we're gonna need to want to rework or update or
Yep.
buff or do something with, right? Like this, to Adam's point, it is a never-ending process. You know, we keep talking about how,
Of course.
you know, we're all here trying to make Diablo
Thank
4
you,
the very
buddy.
best game that
Appreciate
can be.
it, man.
And the reality
You're
is
the
this
best,
is,
dude.
this
Thank
is
you.
the iterations of the conversation with the community, and also looking at this kind of data.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we have a ton of changes here coming up for 1.1.1 that you guys got to see here, especially for class changes. Thanks, Adam, for kind of walking us through
totally.
everything.
Yeah.
And we do have final patch notes coming next Wednesday. That is August 2nd. So just a
Revealed.
reminder on that. Revealed full, where people can read through them and provide full feedback and so forth. And then, of course, that's my tick. Someone called out my tick earlier, and so forth. Stop it, Adam. That's my tick. I will stop that one day. I probably won't. But we actually do have our patch for 1.1.1. The date will be on August 8th as well. So
Your fucking
players can expect
stash,
patch
man.
notes next Wednesday, and then of course 1.1.1 hitting on August 8th, which is Tuesday. So looking forward to
Damn,
seeing
dude.
everyone's feedback, everyone jumping in, and checking out, of course, the new changes coming to pretty much every class now, and in regards to balance changes and so forth. I did it
okay.
again.
And so forth.
Now you're in your own head.
Now,
Be like
now, I'm,
clap
in
every
my,
time
now,
I
now I'm
hit
just
it.
stuck in this like my own empty room saying it over and over.
That's funny,
but
Adam.
anyways,
And get us feedback on how this went, like and how you like this format for talking about patch
please.
notes.
Exactly.
I think
yeah.
the format is great.
We want to see if this worked out really well with the community. So yeah, please provide feedback. Us going through the notes and then of course releasing the notes afterwards. It's a huge help for us and how to communicate with you guys out in the community. So thank you guys again. We hope you enjoyed this Campfire Chat ++, new game ++.
Okay. That's it. That's it for that. Let me see if they have the thing live on Wowhead, like the quick wrap up. Usually they do kind of like a blog. Oh, okay. They did it already. Let's go through this really, really quick, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to break it down really, really quick on stream. Everything so far, pretty much like the TLDR of everything. Just in case you are late. 1 second. Let me fix my camera so I am out of the way. Increase the size a little bit on the left. Actually, what do you guys think? Should I break it down like this or should I break it down in this format right here? Be real with me, though. Be real. Come on, this is very serious to me. I want to make sure you guys are happy with what I'm showing you. Which one? This is option number 2. Can you break it down in other one? Dude, I don't care at all. Just let me know, guys. Big text. 2 for this? Okay, I'll break it down like this. I mean, either way, I really don't care. Let me move it over to help the people out. Bada bing, bada boom. I think this is fine. Is this fine? Let me get a 1 if you guys like this really, really quick. I'll break it down really quick. We'll talk about it. We'll chat a little bit. Hopefully, get through this without freaking suffering too hard. Okay. All right, let's break it down, ladies and gentlemen. I'll actually post this on YouTube, too. I know a lot of people ask me about that, too. Okay, so a lot to talk about today on the TLDR for those of you guys tuning in right now. We had a big little live stream about some of the changes coming up at 1.1.1. By the way, they did announce 1.1.1 is going to come on the 8th, so roughly a week and a half from today. I was really hoping that it was going to come out next week, but here's what they are. Some decent stuff here. So they have some quality of life improvements. Obviously, they're changing the dungeon teleport time back to 3 seconds. Once again, I don't know why that was ever even a thing, but it is what it is. Respec costs are going to be reduced. We talked about that as well. Additional stash tab. And a really, really, really good one for people that like to do nightmare dungeons a lot is they're getting rid of completely some of the dungeon affixes in the game that are really annoying to encounter, like Resource Drain and Cold Enchantment, as well as Backstabber. So you're not getting one-shotted by mobs from behind anymore. Resource Drain is the most toxic one there is. And then you have Cold Enchanted being removed as well. 3 really, really annoying ones. There's a couple other frustrating ones in there as well that are just way stronger than the rest, but it is what it is. I really wish they'd like sort of change Drifting Shade in a way, because that is a really strong dungeon affix as well, but overall it's a very big W. Legendary drop rates, they're increasing them. Legion events are going to be guaranteed to give you a legendary drop rate at level 35, which I thought that was already a thing, but I guess not. Dungeons are going to have a higher chance to drop legendary items. Butcher will be a guaranteed legendary drop. And then Treasure Goblins, they were 50% chance to drop a legendary. Now they're 100% chance. So that's all pretty good stuff. You know, more legendaries is more materials, more gold, whatever it may be. More chances at getting a legendary that you don't find in the Codex of Power, which is all good stuff as well. This was something that I'm a little bit confused about right now. They went over mob density changes right now. I'm going to pull this up and drag this over so you guys can see. Mob density, this was before in one of the examples that they showed, Nostrava Deepwood. This is what it would look like right now. And then after making the change, this is what it looks like after. I'm curious to see if there are more elites inside of these little packs, as you can see right here, which I'm pretty sure there are, because I know these little skulls are objective-based monsters. But either way, I would say there's roughly about 30 to 40% increase in mobs, which is overall a very good thing. I'm really hoping, though, there's actually elites in those packs. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Overall, though, a very good change. That's something that definitely needs to happen. Mob density is definitely not enough. I don't think there's anything wrong with more mobs, more AoE damage. I want it to be flooded inside of Nightmare Dungeons. I want it to be absolutely out of control. Like, I want to see mobs everywhere. That's a really good thing. Moving on, we have some Sorcerer balance changes. Obviously, they stated that we're going to make some changes to the Sorcerer. I'll pull it up on screen for you guys here if you didn't get a chance to see it. Let me see if I could drag this up for a quick second. Boom. Let me drag this up here. They made Firebolt better for the early game, generate more mana. Fireball is looking like it's going to get a very, very big buff across the board, whether it be just through the Fireball, the unique, the other enchantments down the line, as well as their key passives. And also, Chain Lightning is getting a ton of buffs as well. So if you're a sorcerer out there, you're going to be very happy with a couple of these changes. I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but if you guys want to pause the screen, take a look at it, whatever, go for it. Something that was very interesting here was Isu's Ferocity. Now you can get both bonuses on bosses now with a critical strike. Before you couldn't, and I think it activated on a monster kill or something like that. So now you can actually get it procced on bosses, and it's actually usable on bosses. And another thing I'm personally really excited for is the burning effects increase on your combustion. Your burning effects now deal 20% increased damage flat, plus an additional 2% increased damage per unique source of burning. So that's a really, really big buff. That is really, really good. Overall, that's really good for Burning Sorcerer, which I'm definitely going to have to try out. So Firewall Sork, Incinerate Sork, definitely going to get better. Definitely Firewall more than the rest, though. Seeing here legendaries, all these things get buffed, and they also addressed the damage reduction changes right here. Damage reduction on a rare glyph from 10 to 15, another 10 to 15, and 13 to 25. So adding those up, you have roughly, 5, 10, 12. You have 22% damage reduction just on these 3 rare glyphs. Obviously, you need a lot of points to spend to get to all of those rare glyphs, but it is a increase in damage reduction as well. You also have more rare nodes, 4 to 5% here, 4 to 5%. So it is very good. Once again, Searing Heat Legendary, casting Fireball or Meteor, increase your critical strike chance by 5%, stacking up to 15%. Once again, additional buffs to Fireball. More Paragon changes here. Nothing too crazy, though, for survivability. And then some legendary changes as well. The Hydra change, where instead of reducing the duration, it actually increases the duration, which is really good. More burning damage buffs right here. Very massive burning buffs as well. So all this is really, really good. And even on their boots, you actually get movement speed on your boots now from 4 to 6 seconds, which is a really strong thing as well. So all this is really, really good for Sorcerer. Really, really great things, especially Chain Lightning. Once again, additional mana when it bounces in general. Increase the bounces from 2 to 4. Bonus bounces as well. Charged aspect, bonus movement speed of 4 to 8%. So they're moving a lot faster. There's a lot more survivability, more mana regeneration, more damage. It's all really good. So Sorcerer is getting a pretty dang good buff. So all this is really, really strong stuff. There's a new legendary aspect that's going to work in together with the Veer's Mastery Key passive. That's going to be very interesting as well. I'm going to see how my sorcerers feel about that. More buffs as well. Nothing here is too crazy or out of the ordinary, other than the incendiary aspect. With chance on lucky hit, damage from your pyromancy skills have a chance to reward you 10 mana. Before it was just burning damage. That's a good change. And then Blizzard, after you were in it for 2 seconds after, you get damage reduction as well. So all this is really, really good stuff. More mana regeneration, yada, 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 yada. And then they actually changed the Gloves of the Illuminator for more mana regen as well. All this is really good stuff. They're working on also changing Barbarian uniques as well. As you can see, instead of it being damage to crowd-controlled enemies, it's critical strike damage. But one thing they did note, which was very interesting, was that these effects and changes are actually going to come into play after you get the new drops when the patch launches. So they stated that for the Barbarian unique, I'm not sure if this is for every single unique, but I can go ahead and assume that it is, that you're only going to get the new stats and upgrades or whatever after the new patch drops. So currently it's going to be damage to crowd controlled, but when you get the new patch coming, and which is going to be on the 8th, once you get a new Hellhammer to drop, then it's going to give you critical strike damage, not what you had before. They fixed up the early game a little bit to increase, the amount of fury you gain. They buffed a couple abilities, nothing too crazy here. There were a couple buffs that were really big. One of these were for Upheaval, where you can actually get the Berserking on a boss now. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I can zoom in. You can actually get the boss on a boss active now, which is really good. Before, it was just off of your mobs. Now it's on bosses, so it's really effective. Walking Arsenal, bonus damage duration increased from 6 seconds to 8 seconds, so it gives you more time to deal some more damage. That's really, really good. They're trying to sort of involve more abilities like Charge as well as Earthquake. I personally don't see those even still being used. I don't see why in the world you would ever swap out of Shouts. Like, I would never swap out of a Shout when I could, but like, if Charge is available. Like, I don't see the point. I really don't. It's just way too strong to pass up on. So that's something they're gonna have to work on and fix. A lot of buffs to Barbarian uniques in general. One that's really, really eye-grabbing is 100,000 steps. The damage against stunned affix is now replaced with flat movement speed increase. That's really good. You're incorrect when you said it costs more Paragon points to get the glyphs that buff DR. Those are glyphs, so you'd be swapping out... Oh, those were glyphs. I see. Okay. So you're talking about these right up here. All this is just glyphs, so you're just gonna have to... You're gonna be stacking damage reduction glyphs, I guess. Okay. I see what you're saying. You're right. You're right. That's my mistake. That's right. That's not a rare node. It's a glyph. Gotcha. Okay. So that's interesting then. I wonder how much damage you're actually going to be losing then. That's one of those pick and choose things, once again, they have for Sorcerer. A couple of the uniques that really, really got buffed were the 100,000 steps one. Just really strong. With taking out the stunned affix, moving it to movement speed. They also did the same thing with Necromancer, which we'll be talking about in a second. So I know Necros are happy about that. They also went into some additional class changes that no one was really expecting. Rogue Invigorating Strike, 50% to 75% energy regeneration. Nothing too crazy here. Poison Trap damage tick increase. And then instead of the second rain of arrows knocking people down, it's going to be the first rain of arrows, which is good as well. Victimize is getting slightly buffed. Rugged for damage over time effects buffed. Siphoning Strike slightly buff, even though it's still crap. And then a couple legendaries that are just still not really usable anyways. I only use one shout in my build. A lot of people just use 3 shouts. 3 shouts and their core and generator. A lot of people. Wind Force got their all the stats affix replaced with vulnerable damage. So they're, you can see sort of a pattern in what they were doing with all these uniques. They're kind of taking out the crap stats and replacing them with something that's really good. So that's strong as well. Druid changes. They're fixing up their early game as well. A lot more spirit generation on all their stuff. They're buffing wolves pretty much across the board. Passive damage and active damage increase. Legendary aspects with them, as well as the enhancements to buff their damage also. So all of that is increased. That's really good. Ravens got buffed as well. Ravens is not good. They buffed it, thank God. Rabies got increased by 40% damage. Very, very strong rabies buff. Hopefully we can deal some sort of damage now, because before it was just garbage. Moving along to other legendary aspects. The aspect of the alpha, once again, for your wolves. That's strong as well. And then for minions, the following attacks now deal reduced damage to druid companions and necromancer minions, which was the Balrog's fire breath. You were having the problem where he just kept hitting you over and over on your minions, and they would just get completely destroyed, which sucked. So they actually reduced the damage. And remember, this isn't live right now. This is coming in about a week and a half on, I believe they said the 8th, right here. So that Tuesday, so roughly a week and a half. And then also some affixes are going to reduce the damage they deal to Necromancer and Druid minions as well. They actually made a couple changes to Necromancer as well on their Paragon board. A couple legendary aspects. Nothing too crazy here. Other than the Sever legendary aspect change, which is kind of cool. I know a really, really big one a couple of my Necromancer boys were excited about was the unique for your unique boots. The intelligence affix was replaced with bonus movement speed. So you're actually going to be moving a lot faster. So those boots are going to be really, really good. Aspect of Torment changed to essence regeneration, increased from 20 to 30% to 90 to 170%, which is really, really good as well. Once again, minion damage changes as well. And then they also went to some, general improvements. Nothing too crazy here. Let me slide this over so you can see. This is a lot of the stuff they're going to be trying to, I guess, improve in the future, as well as trying to implement into 1.1.1 on the 8th. Making uniques more viable, more build diversity. For example, trying to make Chain Lightning or other burn builds better. Making other damage types more, better and comparable to vulnerable and critical strike damage, because obviously those are just dominating the whole game right now. And then also trying to upgrade ultimate abilities so they're actually more impactful in the late game. Because a lot of people are just simply not even taking ultimates. And then, they mentioned this word a lot, future. They said on a lot of things in the stream, a lot of people were making jokes about it, was future changes coming. Resistances, still, we already know that's going to be changed to try to be a bit more effective, because right now it's just terrible. It is useless stacking resistances, and that's one of the reasons why they were buffing Sorcerer's damage mitigation just flat as a whole on their Paragon board, glyphs, whatever. So that's something that's really, really important that they need to fix right away. Mount movement is going to be a lot smoother. Thank God. Mounts are clunky as shit. And then overpower stat is going to be improved to be more meaningful in the end game, because it just can't compare to almost anything else out there. The only build that can really make it slap is Werebear, effectively. Sometimes Hammer of the Ancients, but it is what it is. Overall, man, I think these are all really good changes. Once again, I will say it again. I think Diablo 4 is not in the best state right now, but I think the game is going to be really, really strong. Well, my honest answer, probably in 6 to 9 months from now. I think there's going to be a lot of good fixes. They're going to have multiple seasons out. I think Season 1, to be honest, was a little bit of a wash. I think they kind of, by stating something like, hey, just remember, guys, while we were developing the game, we put out Season 1. So, just keep that in mind, that the other seasons down the line are going to have a lot more attention on them and bring a lot more content, etc. So, that's one of those things that I didn't really like about this whole Season of Malignant thing. But hey, it is what it is. I think the game's going to be pretty solid in about 6 to 9 months from now. I think they'd be better. But this is where we're at right now. Overall, these are all really good changes. Nothing bad here. All this stuff is really, really good. They also, I absolutely love the mob density increase thing. I don't think Like, I know there's a performance issue with increasing more mobs over and over. Like, that can get kind of crazy, but shit, dude. I mean, I just flood the nightmare dungeons with mobs. Like, mobs, elites, and then that will also increase the amount of experience we get. Like, I think that's a really, really good change that they need to make, and they're making it coming up very, very soon. So that's really, really strong for, I guess, for the end game and the betterment of leveling overall. So that's really, really good. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching. My name's Sky from the Comeback Kids. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. Okay, that was the wrap up of the video. Anyways, guys, what do you guys think about overall? No bullshit. What do you guys think of the changes so far? You guys think we got skamazed a little bit? I don't know. I think overall they weren't bad, man. I know I give them a lot of shit because this company, I don't know, man. I'm just very skeptical about Blizzard, man. I really am. I really am. I'm always skeptical about Blizzard. I'm always worried about them, to be honest. I think it was good. Remember, this was a reaction update, not a planned one. I could agree. That's good. Doesn't fix everything, of course, but it's not bad. I agree. I think there's a lot of good changes in there. There's some quality of life shit. Respec reduced by 40% is fantastic. I don't know why the dungeon teleport thing was even a thing, but, you know, it is what it is. More stash tabs. Nightmare dungeon affixes being removed. More mob density. This is all good stuff. I'm just going to be real. It's good stuff, but I think it was definitely a Blizzard W today. I'm going to be honest. Last week was a Blizzard L. Everything was just like, they didn't even do anything last week. It was nonsense. So they made Bard bleed better. That's it. Yeah, they didn't really do shit for Barbarian. You want me to be honest? Are there any Barbarian mains in chat that can talk to me a little bit more about how they feel about what's going on with Barbarian? Because I don't know a lot. More Sever Necro buffs. Yeah, I can't believe they did that. That's crazy, Fiction. I can't believe they did that. Anyone in chat can tell me a little bit more about Barbarian, these changes? That was all they buffed, enough to be interesting. We want more. The upheaval thing's kind of cool. Fire Sork now seems like it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna get a Burning Sork up and running by the 8th for sure to test out and make a build on. Impale. I guess. Impaler. How they fix the Thorns build? I don't think my friends who have quit because I know they fixed a couple things for Thorns. Where is it? Damn, where is it? I missed it. They fixed something for Thorns that was really good. Not like the actual Thorns itself, but there was... Oh, right here. Death Switch aspect. Thorns increased from 5 to 75% to 65% to 85%. Or 65 to 85, excuse me. So that's a good change. Upheaval, my fault, not Impale. Yeah, I figured that one. Fire Sork seems viable now. As far for Barb, I was a Barb main in D3, and it was OP until Season 23, so maybe they're just concerned to be too strong again. I mean... I don't know, man. I'd rather something be strong for a half a patch and then nerf it than it be absolutely unusable and shit. By the way, CrossFit Nerd, I'm not sure if you're still in here, buddy. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted and the reoccurring membership, dude. Made my absolute day. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Lots of people want to play Whirlwind. Dude, a lot of people want to play Whirlwind. They didn't change anything for Whirlwind. Is Whirlwind bad right now? Is Whirlwind in a bad state? Can anyone tell me? I don't think that it's terrible right now, right? It's usable. I think Whirlwind is considered an endgame build. It's decent. It is usable. No problem. Thank you so much, CrossFit Nerd. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. You're the king, dude. I'm still going to play my Hammer of the Ancients Barb. I think overall this was pretty good, man. I think they did well. We're just going to have to see. I just don't like that they say every 5 seconds, like, future, future, future. Like, you know, sometime we're talking about it, we're thinking about it, we're talking about it, or thinking about it. Like, you know. I don't know. Let me... I want to start uploading this really quick, guys. Give me 2 seconds.
Give me
About
2
that
seconds.
too. Okay, so a lot to talk about today on the TLDR. For those of you guys tuning in,
Just make sure.
okay, ladies and gentlemen, man, I think it's about that time. I'm gonna get to editing this video really quick and upload it. That's sort of the plan for me right now. Let's go to the full cam, baby. Let's give a sort of quick dance-a-rooney hangout session. I'm gonna get to editing this video, dude. I got a lot to do. I got a new Necromancer build, hopefully coming out tomorrow with Fiction. I think today was a pretty decent W, man. I'm not gonna lie, I think it's a good stuff. I just wish it was coming out next week rather than a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever. It is what it is. Yo, once again, CrossFit Nerd, dude, thank you so much for 5 gifted, 1 reoccurring member. I love you guys so much, man. Let's just jam out for a second. Guys, I appreciate it, man. You guys are the best, dude. I'm gonna edit this video. I'm gonna upload it in like the next 5-10 minutes, and then that's it. And then working on the Necromancer build for tomorrow. I'm not gonna make a strong classes list until the new patch comes out, because that's gonna be very interesting to test out and see what the hell's going on with that. But yeah, a lot to work on, man. I love you guys so much, dude. I know sometimes, dude, D4 drives us crazy. I am right there with you, believe me. But I think the game is decent right now. It's in a tough spot. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it'll be great in 6 to 9 months from now. Am I gonna be still playing? Am I even gonna make it to season 2? Shit, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. All I do know is right now, I'm not gonna quit on season 1 until I give it my everything. And then I'll give my final review and see where we're at after that. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I love you guys so much, man. I appreciate all the love and support. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I know it was a lot. 193 people in here right now, dude. Let me get some ones in the chat if we're going to have a good day after this, dude. Ones in the chat for having a good day and trying to be positive, dude. I love you guys so much, dude. God bless you guys. My name's Sky from the Comeback Kids. I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. I gotta do some important family stuff in the morning. I got to coach my little sister's football team in football. But later that afternoon, I will be streaming. I love you guys so much. God bless you guys. My name's Scott from the Comeback Kids. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.